Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and with me, as always, is my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going okay. I saw a movie today.
I saw a movie, I
Yeah,
saw it
yeah.
yesterday.
There,
So,
I made my avatar look less happy. What do you think?
I wanted to, the funny thing is, when I saw it, I wanted. I wanted to say, why so serious? Oh, you did it because of the movie?
Oh, just playing around, just playing around. I also made him less bright. There's more of a metallic color now
I kind of like it. It looks
bright
cool.
instead of bright white. You know,
I don't dislike what
the
you've
bright
done
white
here.
was a little clinical. I don't know, but anyway, no,
I
it's
don't
cool.
dislike
Yeah,
it.
I'm playing around with it. Like I said, it's gonna evolve. It's gonna change as we go forward. But anyway, we saw a movie. I saw your review earlier, Price. I saw that you posted your review of the film, so
I thought it was a fair review. You know,
I thought it was fair as well. Yeah, I've seen, you know, honestly, I've gone back and forth. I've seen different people with some different opinions, and I can honestly see a lot of different perspectives on this one. So yeah, we'll definitely spend some time.
It's
Time
funny,
talking
and I
about
will
that.
say this that for a very long while, we had movies that were very cut and dry, that you watch them and they're either a disaster that's like unwatchable, like Supergirl, let's say, was, or they're actually good. And I feel like, I don't know, somehow the tentpole films that I've been thinking of from recent times, they were not disastrous enough for me to say that it's a disaster, but they weren't good enough for me to say that they were the best, you know?
Yeah,
And a lot of times people really want you to say that it's either the best thing that ever happened or it's the worst thing that ever happened. Sometimes,
absolutely. They want polarized views, right? Like
right.
it's absolutes. Either this is the best thing that has ever happened. Nothing can stand up to this, or it has to be no. This is an absolute disaster. No one should ever touch this. Why was this made? It's so awful. Right? And yeah, why does it have to be so polarized? There's absolutely no room in the middle for us to have any kind of nuance when it comes to views on entertainment, to views on politics, to views on anything.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange because we talk a lot about how we like to have dialogues and different opinions, but it's become a strange situation. Even amongst people that really supposedly love to hear different opinions, they suddenly don't love hearing different opinions. So, yeah, it's kind of strange. I'm the type of guy that I like to be as honest as I can. You know, I try to I try my best to just say what I think. It may not be the popular thing. It may not go with like whatever uh, people want to hear, but I'll always say whatever I think. And sometimes I think it actually costs me even subscribers and stuff. Like, and it always is weird to me because you said that I posted a review, and I posted it, and I said in my review things that I didn't like, and there was no shortage of issues that I could point out about the movie, but I also gave it some compliments. You know, even after saying a lot of things that I thought were issues, I also managed to give some compliments there. And I thought it was a very balanced and nuanced review. But some people, you know, they said that they enjoyed the review. I did notice like that I lost. I'm not saying I lost like all my subscribers, but I did notice suddenly that after I posted the video, I can only assume that some people watched it and they're like, "That's it. We never want to hear from him again," because I kind of gave a nuanced review, so that's considered bad, I guess. But I can't do it any other way. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say something that's not my opinion. I can only share what my real opinion is.
Yeah, new what's where how is there room for nuance now? I mean, really, come on. It's silly. Honestly, it's silly, right? And it's funny because we've talked about there's people in the chat talking about it. Like I was saying, like I've been hearing various different opinions. Tom from Midnight's Edge really enjoyed it. Andre was kind of in the middle. Like, it was good, it was okay, it was there were good things about it, bad things about it. WDW pros seemed to really, really enjoy it. If you looked at some of the people who were talking on Open Bar today, most of them really didn't like it. Az was kind of enjoying it a little bit. Drinker was meh. Mahler thought it was one of the worst things ever made, but then everything is the worst thing ever made when it comes to Mahler. So, it's funny, right? It's so there's, you know what? I think that is, that's where we want to have to be for a film, is having some conversation about it. Obviously, if everyone is saying this is the best thing ever made, that's going to be great. That's going to be a good film. But at the same time, I think we want to be in a place where we can have those discussions about, this worked, that didn't, this was enjoyable, that was less so. Those kind of things, I think are that's what I think criticism of entertainment and film and television, all that stuff should really be about, right? Was it enjoyable? Yeah. Was it a great film? Probably no. Did it have some fun bits? Yes. Did I have a laugh or two? I did. Did I find some real plot problems and some pretty major issues with conflicting with other parts of the MCU? Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's good and there's bad here. So I mean, I get, honestly, I get bored of the, either it has to be rave or it has to be garbage kind of approach to things. Honestly, it gets pretty boring.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I didn't watch Open Bar today. I didn't have a chance because I was working on the review.
Yeah, I was it kind of in and out. I saw a little bit of it here and a little bit of it there, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just doing a post, but I guess
Yeah.
generally speaking, if you want to start with a few thoughts of,
Yeah, I can, while you're doing your post, I can just kind of start with my overall thoughts here. Uh, I thought that overall, I had a good time in the theater. I think this is going to do big money. I think this is going to be an extremely popular film, especially this weekend. Might be close to, if not the highest record for an opening weekend for an MCU film. I think this is going to do incredibly well. A lot of the complaints, the issues that I have with it are things that most viewers, or as we say, normies. I don't really like saying that, but we know what we mean when we say normies, right? We're talking about people who are not particularly critical of the entertainment that they watch. They're going to see a film because they're going to see bright things on the screen and things that are going to be fun and move around, and it's going to tell them a story, and they're going to be entertained for the time that they're in the theater. They're not looking at it with a particularly critical eye. I think that normies, that those types of people are going to be very entertained by this film. They're going to enjoy it. I honestly think a lot of younger people are going to be very entertained by this, and they're going to like it. This is overall, I would say, a decent Spider-Man movie. I would not say this is a bad film. I don't think it is. It definitely has some issues here and there, especially some plot things and some character problems. But the style of the film, great. I absolutely love the direction that they went with the Spider-Man costume, with his suit in this movie. It's much simpler. It's much more straightforward and just looks like it jumped right out of a comic book page, which I really, really liked. There's a little bit less of the world around him from, the MCU and stuff around, like imposing on the story. There is stuff there, but I think it's less so. There are some specific characters that show up. In fact, I think one of the biggest problems is that there's too many characters in this that could have been left out. There's too many little bits and pieces that just didn't really do anything important in the film. So that's definitely an issue. And like I said, costume wise, the way the movie is filmed, also very good. I think there's some great shots in here. There's some that are clearly just supposed to be directly homages to comic book pages and covers from the past. There's some great stuff in there. There's some really there's some really interesting fight scenes that I think are very entertaining, that are filmed very well and very fun. But on the other side, there are definitely some problems. And again, we can spend some time getting into all of these things as we move forward with our conversation. I think there's definitely plot issues here. A lot of people, you've probably heard some reviews, different people have talked about how it's it feels like two different movies. I did not feel that. I felt that those parts did fit together, but I can see where people are saying that, where they're getting this two movies thing. It does feel, I will say, it does feel like either these were two scripts that were smashed together, or there was a script where they said, you have to squeeze all this other stuff in because of a studio mandate or something. So they had to squeeze a lot of other stuff in on top of that. I feel like that is definitely something that's a possibility. So yeah,
I have my theories. And I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But go on. Say more of your thoughts.
No. Okay. So yeah. So like I said, there's some issues with some characters. Maybe too many characters shoved into the film. There's some things that are in here, like the hand.
Complete waste.
Yeah. Why are they even here? I don't understand why they decided that they needed to be part of this movie. There's other characters like Scorpion, where you're like, ooh, we see Scorpion a bunch in the trailers, and then he is almost plays no role whatsoever in the actual film itself.
The funny thing is that they actually built that Scorpion guy from like the first movie,
yeah.
and they've done nothing with the guy. It's like they keep just kind of throwing him in there, but they never really do anything with him. And you'd think that now, finally, maybe with all these other people, if he didn't know MJ and Ned, then maybe finally he could go toe-to-toe with this Scorpion or something. And now he has nobody to rely on or anything, you know what I mean? And they're just it was such a dumb use of him. In my review, I think I didn't even mention him because I forgot he was in the movie. That's how irrelevant he was. I'm serious.
Yes. Mac Gargan as the Scorpion, everyone from the comic books. Yeah. They have been building him up. He's been a character that's been in previous Spider-Man films, but yeah, he doesn't really play a very pivotal role in this, even though you see him in the trailers a bunch. There's a bunch of that going on, and then of course there is. We'll wait for until we start saying we're going to do spoilers before we get to Sadie Sink's role in this and everything. But not a great turn, I think, for her or for the character. Honestly, I didn't think it was that great, and we also get Hulk in this. We also get Frank Castle's Punisher. We get that in here. Both playing roles. Some less important or potentially just completely unimportant. But yeah, I will say, as just kind of wrap it up. There are a lot of upsides and downsides to this. It's a very mixed bag for me. Someone in the chat who was asked, Kodo Rob asked, where do you rank this out of the 4 Tom Holland Spidey films? That's tough.
I ranked it at number 2.
I honestly, I really enjoyed the first one. I did not enjoy the second one as much. The third one, while I enjoyed it, it feels fairly empty as a film once you get past the nostalgia and the convoluted plot. Um, but it was still very enjoyable. I would say this is probably in third place out of the four for me. I know a lot of people say that it's great, it's the best one, or it's the second best one, or whatever. It's probably third place for me.
Well, for me, it's not the best one. The best one would be No Way Home
Yep.
because them having Tobey Maguire in it already
Okay.
makes it the best one. Like that automatically by default becomes the best one out of the four. And for me, there's no even discussion about that. Even though No Way Home had its issues and had flaws, but it was enough it was enough fan service to make me happy. Even if it, you know, you could say it was a shameless fan service, whatever you want to call it. I enjoyed it because I liked seeing Tobey Maguire. I don't care. I understand it wasn't the best screenplay. Still enjoyed it. It was fun. It did what it needed to do. And for me, that one is the first one. So now the question is, how do we rank the next ones? I agree with you. Far From Home, the second one is the worst one. That one is the worst. That one is just a really not a good movie. It's forgettable. The one with Mysterio, that one has to be last.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
now the question is, what about like Homecoming versus this one? And for me, I don't know why I didn't love Homecoming. I remember after seeing like the introduction of Tom Holland in Civil War, I was rather excited to see Homecoming. And I went to the theater and I was really pumped to watch it. And I sat there and I thought, well, it's all right. I didn't hate the movie. I liked that Michael Keaton was in it. There were some things I liked about it, but I didn't love it. I felt also a bit underwhelmed by it. It wasn't a Far From Home situation, but I didn't love it. And this one, I feel, has things in it that are cooler, that captured my attention. It both of them. Homecoming for me is not a perfect movie, and this is not a perfect movie either. But somehow this one managed to get something more of a reaction out of me. So by like a few inches, at a photo finish, I'd give maybe this one a higher grade. I'd say
So
that for me, No Way Home is number one, Brand New Day number two, then Homecoming, then Far From Home. With all of that being said, none of these movies, none of them, are on the level of Tobey Maguire 1 and 2.
yeah,
Tobey Maguire 1 and 2 mops the floor with the two Garfield movies, and it mops the floor, in my opinion, with all four Tom Holland movies, maybe with the exception of No Way Home, because Tobey Maguire is in it at least. So I don't feel good about the mopping,
yeah.
but generally speaking, those are the gold standard. You know what I mean? 1 and 2 Raimi, that's the gold standard for me.
Yeah, yeah, and people have said, oh, this is the best one since or since the second, Tobey Maguire movie, or that it's better than. There's not a chance this is better than Spider-Man 2. That Spider-Man 2 is one of the best superhero films that has
Ever.
been made. Period. It is just that good. It really is incredibly enjoyable film, and it's very well plotted. It's well acted. It's well shot. It's not a perfect movie, but it is an excellent example
Excellent. Excellent.
of the genre and very enjoyable. The yeah the as you were saying, yeah. So yeah, for me, it goes a little bit different. I really did enjoy Homecoming. I liked Homecoming a lot. I liked the story of him kind of with the surrogate father of Tony, kind of teaching him the ropes and everything that goes into that, and then him eventually deciding to be, more small potatoes, more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man than being a cosmic hero. Even though he ends up becoming a cosmic hero in the very next film he's in.
Right.
But whatever, that he wants to stay small and be small, doesn't want to join the Avengers, and I liked the arc and the way that plot works. So that movie worked for me, and then I did enjoy No Way Home, like I said, even though I felt like the actual plot itself is kind of empty. It is very fun. It's enjoyable. And like I said, this movie has a lot. There's some fun. There's some things to enjoy in this one as well. But that one would be number 2 for me. This one would be number 3. And then, yeah, Far From Home would be number 4. Because, yeah, Far From Home, while I do like some of the stuff in Far From Home, it's a real mess of a film. And also, introduces us to the Skrulls, which is became an absolute disaster later in the MCU.
By the way, I want to ask our people, if there's anybody here listening to this, I don't know on what platform, and you happen to have a Rumble account, it would really help me if you would go into Rumble even for a second and do a chat there. I'm looking for chatters, and that would help me. I actually only need a few chatters. So if somebody's listening and you also have a Rumble thing, you can, you know, first of all, Rumble is a great platform. It's a freedom of speech platform, so you should use it if you have it. And if you happen to have one, maybe sometimes you use this, sometimes you use that. I recommend you go to Rumble and listen to it. But even better, when you go there, you should do a little chat in the Rumble thing because then it'll really, really help us out. Just throwing that out there if anybody is interested in anything like that. In any case, I posted the things, and I guess let me try to think. We
Yeah,
can start
yeah.
just talking about what
Well, you
happens
can
in
give
this
me
movie.
your general impressions, right? You can give me your general
Okay,
impressions
okay.
now.
I'll give you the general impression. The general impression is that we had a great, great opportunity. No Way Home, which for me was the best Tom Holland movie, uh, ended on a high note for me. Not high note for Spidey, but high note for me because finally it looked like we were disconnecting Spider-Man from all of this kind of MCU nonsense, which is really kind of spiraled out of control. It's one thing with Tony and the arc and with Endgame and whatever, but I really feel like after that, it would have been nice to kind of take him away from that because the MCU went, down the drain. So I don't even know why they kept on wanting him involved or whatever it is. But fine, after Endgame, they had Far From Home, which was sort of him dealing with the loss of Tony or whatever it is. Fine, it wasn't a very good movie, but after No Way Home, I thought to myself, this is it. Now you can just give us a more grounded Spider-Man movie without all the high-tech fancy stuff that he gets from Stark Industries or whatever it is. He doesn't need all of that. He's just the classic Spider-Man, the kind that I saw in comics, the kind that I grew up with, and I was really excited to see what they do with it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't hate Zendaya and Jacob Batalon or whatever their names are, but I also didn't wasn't itching for them to be in the movie. I will
Sure.
also I will also say this, and you can do whatever you want. Harry and MJ from the Raimi movies are a lot more interesting characters than MJ and Ned. MJ and Ned are just kind of there. They don't really do much. I don't know. There's no as much as you could say that MJ in the Raimi trilogy is such a bitch, at least she causes me to feel some kind of emotion, you know what I mean? And Harry also is like completely, has a very interesting arc. I don't feel like they really did anything interesting with MJ or with Ned, if you know what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
and it's fine. I don't hate them, but I really didn't feel like I needed more of them. The thing that it ended so perfectly, No Way Home, that he's in that coffee shop and he's like, you know what? For the greater good, I'm not going to tell her who I am, and I'm just going to go and be my own guy. And that's the first time that you felt something. The guy, as a hero, made a decision that a hero makes. You know what I mean? It was the selfless decision of thinking of something bigger than himself, and I think that movie ended like in a very kind of poignant way, in a way that also opens the door to what his life is going to be like when he's alone. And I wanted to see at least give me one movie of that. You know what I mean? This movie starts off with him reading the same stupid, sorry, Sean, the same stupid fucking letter, right? From the previous one, right?
Yes, it starts off with it with the letter, but that will be. I mean, if we want to, start kind of, walking through the film. Yeah, I mean, it starts off with a montage of what he's been doing for the past 4 years. And Price, I wanted to see that movie. I wanted to see that movie where he's running around fighting Tombstone and he's fighting all of these other gangs. I wanted to see him fighting the Hand with the help of Punisher and Daredevil. I wanted to see that movie. But all we get is 5-minute montage.
Right.
And I feel ripped off. Genuinely.
Right.
I want to see that movie where he's running around doing all of that stuff, becoming the everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, instead of just getting a montage and having that skipped over to where now that's, this is just where we are now 4 years later.
This could have been such a great movie. Just get rid of all those characters. I don't want to see them. Have them be on, show us what it feels like that he's on his own. Even if by the end of the movie or throughout it you have a cameo of Ned and Zendaya that he sees them from afar, but like he has to deal with his own life. I would accept that if that was necessary for a little cameo. But I didn't need. He doesn't even. The movie starts. Doesn't it start with him reading the same stupid letter? Am I wrong or did I imagine it?
I think he's kind of thinking about that happening, and he's looking at their like social media posts and stuff like
Right,
that
but
they've been
what does
making.
it start? He's on this construction thing with the mask half off his face. Isn't that something that he remembers the events of the previous movie? I'm trying to think how the movie even started, the first few minutes, but never mind. Bottom line is, uh, I guess what I'm saying is, from the first moment the movie starts, he's already with like Ned and Zendaya again. You know what I'm saying? We're 100%. Uh, he doesn't give it like half a movie or towards the end of the movie he remembers them or anything. You know what I mean? Like the movie hits the ground running with how does he get Zendaya and Ned back? Do you get what I'm trying to
More or
say?
less, yeah, it does. Yeah,
Like
it
the
pretty.
one thing that I wanted them to get rid of is the one thing that he starts the movie and now he's obsessed with, and I'm like, why? Why are you doing this? I don't need this. And it's not like I said, it's not that they added so much to these movies that they were so necessary. It is true, and I think that actually, I've heard a number of people say this, and it also makes sense. Initially, when they ended No Way Home on that note of him being outside the MCU, basically, I think it's because there was a bit of uncertainty as to what would happen in the future movies. So I think that because there was sort of an uncertainty, they left the door for that option. But then once Disney and Kevin Feige and all those, and maybe Pascal started working together and reaching agreements and understanding and all those different things, I think that it became business as usual with the MCU. And now it's all a matter of how do we tie this into the MCU? Uh, I'm surprised personally that Sony and Amy Pascal went along with all of this because the movie is basically one of those don't ask questions, enjoy product, and be excited for next product.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that, and yeah.
And Kevin Feige, it feels, and I said this in my review. If you happen to, you said you watched it. I said that like I feel like he thought to himself, okay, I have a captive audience. People are going to turn up for this Spider-Man movie. They're going to turn up rain or shine. Even if this thing is just mediocre, they're all going to turn up. How do I shove as many things into this movie as I can that's good for me? And that's what I feel happens here in the movie. Uh, yeah, the main thing is I don't know how much we can talk about, like, or how much we're going to spoil or not spoil. But when it comes to like Sadie Sink, that feels
Hmm.
to me like something that's on Kevin Feige's agenda. Meaning he's already thinking of like Doomsday and Secret Wars and all of his next phases or whatever it is. This thing didn't happen by accident. They didn't introduce Sadie Sink's character because they just thought it would be something that's cool for this movie. And that's why I also feel like the screenplay may have been changed around a few times. Maybe initially, when they didn't know what was going to be the future of everything, they thought we'll make a smaller movie with him, and the Punisher hanging out in New York doing stuff, which was cool. And then maybe they're like, well, we can't do that now. Now we got to do this, we got to do that. And then what do we have here? We have in one movie, we have the Punisher. We have Bruce Banner, who you could just delete from this movie. That doesn't even as Hulk. He doesn't do anything for me personally.
No, no.
It seemed kind of like a letdown. It wasn't even like a big thing. It was just some side because they don't focus on any of the thing proper. Even though I don't like Mark Ruffalo, if that was a plot line that you wanted to do, there is a build up to make it mean something. But it's just so random when it appears that it kind of doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Like I forgot it even happened. If you know what I'm trying to say.
It's a real waste of time in the film. Honestly, there's so little point to the appearance of Hulk, and Banner. I don't even know. I mean, I know they just wanted to squeeze more characters in here. They wanted to squeeze more interest into the film, from different people. But man, it no, it does not. The specifically, I would say with including Banner in the film does not work.
Doesn't do
There's
anything.
little point. Yeah, it's just
I
there's
mean, it
little point
doesn't
in
help
having
that
it.
I don't love Mark Ruffalo, but to be honest with you, it's not even just the Mark Ruffalo angle. It's just like it's almost an afterthought that it's in there, and it doesn't even feel important that he's there. Especially when the way the second half of this movie turns out. Now, I wonder to myself, this is a theory. I'm throwing it out there. What if they if they wanted to make a movie and they started signing actors for it, but then what happened was is that other agreements were reached with Sony. There was also all the Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, and they just said suddenly, you know what? We'll keep all those actors that are contracted. I think that the Scorpion guy was contracted for a number of movies. For example, I think that they had him in that's why he appeared in the first one, and it probably was a multi-picture deal. They wanted to do something with that character. By the time this movie came along, maybe initially they told him, "Yep, now's the movie," and then they're like, "Wait, we're doing Doomsday and Avengers, whatever." They're like, "Okay, we got good news for you." To the actor that plays Scorpion, you know how you want it to be Scorpion? Well, fuck you.
They didn't
In
bring
any
back the guy. They didn't bring back the guy who plays Shocker. They just brought back his gloves.
exactly. In any case, so maybe they already had those guys on their payroll and contracted. They're just like, fuck it, let's just keep them here. And maybe that's how it became like a movie with too many aspects of it that some of them don't make any sense. I really did think initially Zendaya, the rumor was is that she'd only do like a cameo here and we'd barely see them. That was the original rumors. Then suddenly they're just like all over the place. Like you see them all the time. Uh, so you have that angle. You have the Punisher. Now, I really like the Punisher. I really like him. And even amidst all the mess that they made here, I think that he's one of the brighter spots from all these random additions to the movie. I just feel like there was an option here where they could show a real friendship building between them. And it always feels very kind of shallow and superficial because they never have the time to build that up. Even the fact that he arrives and he's like, "Oh, you saved me in Staten Island. I saved you in Staten Island." Why don't you show us that fucking scene? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Open the movie with like the Punisher arriving somewhere and starting to blow up everybody, and then like he runs into some problem and suddenly Spider-Man shows up. You know what? I would have been super excited if the movie opened that way without all that crying about MJ and all that bullshit and watching her YouTube videos. Fuck that, Professor.
yeah. Well,
I
in
don't want to.
the Staten Island that they kept talking, oh, you saved us in Staten Island. Okay, so that wasn't even like fresh or new. That is literally just ripped off from the Hawkeye and Black Widow characters talking about I forgot what is it they keep talking about Budapest,
Oh,
right?
Budapest.
They're
Yeah.
always talking about Budapest, right? So it's like it's just stolen from that. It's not even new. It's not even clever.
You
It's
know
just
what?
like nope, we just took it straight from these two characters and we gave it to these two
I
characters.
don't even give a shit that they stole it. I'm saying steal it, but do something interesting with it. There it was stupid banter with the Budapest. It was fine. But like Budapest also, it's a place that's far away from New York or wherever they're at. So it sounds like some kind of foreign place that they went to whenever they were. And there's some context that you understand that there used to be a working relationship or they were doing something. It makes more sense within the context of that. If they wanted to swipe that idea here, they could have done it and raised the stakes. If the movie would have started with the Punisher showing up with like guns blazing, running into trouble, and then Spider-Man suddenly comes to save him, wouldn't have that been a much better opening to the movie than anything we got here?
Yes. Yeah.
And then they
The
don't have to do like they don't have to they show us, they don't tell us. They don't have to say, "What about Staten Island? What about Staten Island?" You don't have to say anything. We saw him save him. He doesn't have to keep telling him. You know what I mean? We understand that he owes him one. And even though he's grumpy, we know it because we saw it. And it could be like, he could even say, "Oh, kid, I owe you one," whatever he says and goes. And then at least later, we know why he's coming to him. And I think that would have made more sense, but they don't have time to flesh these kind of ideas out because they have to shove a million things in there. So the movie starts off, he's very sad with Ned and Zendaya. He has to pretend that he's some other guy that's doing a housewarming gift for them or whatever it is. he shows up to their place. Also preposterous. I mean, wouldn't they know that who the fuck is he and where did he come from? But never mind. He shows up and then he sees that like Zendaya, sorry, MJ is with. Is he considered their Flash? Who is that guy that she's with?
Guy who uh kisses her. Boyfriend, right?
Isn't the
Yeah.
boyfriend supposed to be Flash or
No, it's that wasn't the actor who played Flash. I don't think. I think that's supposed to be somebody else.
I don't want to get into trouble here because somebody
Because
may. He kind of resembled that actor. It wasn't the same guy.
I don't. Well, let's see. Let's hit up IMDb and see who we got here.
If not, they
Um,
got a guy that sure resembles the other guy.
let's see. Was it supposed to? Iman Asfandi is listed in the credits as MJ's boyfriend. He doesn't even get his own name.
I
He's
see.
just
I
MJ's
apologize. I
boyfriend. Yeah.
apologize for thinking that this was the same
No, no, that's
actor.
fine. Yeah. Um,
I don't have anything good to say. I don't know how to get out of this, but
I I never liked their portrayal of Flash in the previous
no, I
Spider-Man
didn't
movies
like
here.
it. But
Anyway.
I for some reason I thought that was their Flash, but
Yeah.
you explained that it wasn't, and I accept your explanation. So that's
Yeah.
good to know. Uh,
So yeah, we open up with a montage in the film. I guess we can say from here on out. I don't want to keep trying to dance around it. We can just say spoilers, guys. They're gonna be spoilers. Prince can Prince Price Prince Price can put a Chiron up on the screen
okay,
for
okay. Let me do a
spoilers or
special.
something. Yeah,
I'm gonna do some special
yeah.
technology
He's gonna
here.
do some stuff. And then we also have here. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. While you're doing that, I am going to take a look at some support that we got this evening, Price.
Okay.
So let me resize my window here. Let's see. First of all, no. Why are you not? Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, you'll have to put it in presentation mode so I can share the screen there, Price.
Okay.
So we got Miss Sparkles joining membership, the Leapers here.
Thank you, Miss
Fishbulb,
Sparkles. We really appreciate that.
Fishbulb joining the Leapers, and then Fishbulb gifted us 10 Price of Reason Live gift memberships. So yeah, those went out to 10 wonderful people out there, and some of them in the chat, some of them just subscribers. But yeah, we got to see that there. And then we also got a Rumble rant, Price. Can you find it in our thing so you can show it, or
Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna look for it now.
from
Yes.
One Punch Fan for $3?
$3. Sing it price. Save Stargate. Wow, I never tried. Did I ever try to sing?
I think you did once, yeah.
Let me think. Talk for a second. Let me think of something.
Oh, I can try to sing it, but it's not going to be.
Save Stargate. Did the best
Beautiful.
I could.
Most impressive. Yes. Thank you.
Most impressive.
Impressive. Most impressive.
In any
right.
case, thank you. Thank you so much, Fishbulb. That's very, very kind of you. We greatly appreciate that. As I always say, we don't bother people because we don't want to be PBS. I don't like to bother people and say, oh, it's so nice that you do stuff and you give us donations or whatever. But obviously, people that do that, we greatly, greatly appreciate it. It always helps. It helps what we do here. And very grateful. Thank you so much. It's a great
and
gift.
welcome to the new members, and thanks again, One Punch Fan, for the $3 Rumble rant. So awesome,
Absolutely.
much appreciated. So yeah, I guess if we want to just kind of sort of talk our way through the movie or whatever here.
Let's. Where were we? I was complaining about something. I'm going to try and. Okay, so they didn't do the thing with the Punisher.
Yeah.
They did the thing where. And we're doing spoilers now. Now we're just talking about it. So, And after that, we're going to bring some guests on to talk to share their thoughts about the movie. Uh, so basically it starts off like you said, there's a montage, there's also, it's all a blur to me. I mean, I probably need to watch it again, but uh there's like a woman police officer in this movie, where kind of like Batman and Commissioner Gordon in that Batman Matt Reeves movie, that he just shows up to any crime scene. Spider-Man just kind of shows up, he just pops up. But as much as maybe that was controversial in the Matt Reeves one, I will say that, like, even their Commissioner Gordon, that I think it's Jeffrey Wright plays him. Some people had some issues with swapping of certain things in that character, but say what you want, Jeffrey Wright is a very solid actor. You know what I mean? He's an actor with real presence, and he is a good actor. Whether or not you like him as Commissioner Gordon, that's as a casting is a different conversation. But at least when I watched the movie, I could tell that there was an actor that brings some kind of gravitas to the screen. This lady that they have here, she is so forgettable. I don't I forgot her, not at the end of the movie. When a scene with her ended, I immediately forgot about her. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, they couldn't
Agreed.
have found a more unforgettable actress to play that thing. At least, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm gonna sound crappy, and there's some ladies listening, and I'm sorry to you as well. At least at least bring some hot woman. At least bring somebody, bring like somebody that looks like Jessica Alba or something, even a little older, and she has kids or whatever it is that's happening there. But have her, or you know what, maybe make it a female police officer. Don't bring Zendaya, don't bring Ned in. Maybe don't give her kids, and give, Peter something, or maybe Spider-Man, or you know what I'm saying, maybe a love interest, anything. Do it, fucking anything, Professor. Like, how did they find a lady that he would never be remotely interested in her romantically? She is
Oh well,
not.
he's still pining for MJ, which is shown to us repeatedly, including a time when he's riding the elevator in his apartment building with a hot blonde who literally hits on him,
Right, right. That's another
and
thing.
then
She's
and
like,
then he's
"Whoa."
like, hi, and then walks off. Like, oh come on.
Very annoying. Yes, I almost forgot that that happened. Yes, he's riding the elevator. He lives in a dump. Here's another thing. Even though it's a dump, I didn't understand, how does he pay for that dump?
Yeah, we don't know.
No explanation.
How's
They
he pay for
removed
that?
it.
How does he pay for all the crazy technology he has?
What about like the Daily Bugle? What about anything? Where's Jonah Jameson? Why don't we see anything? Why did they just get rid of all this? It's like it's so weird, because this movie could have had the Daily Bugle. It could have had like Jonah Jameson. I don't even care.
Exactly.
Bring even their Jonah James. I don't even give a shit. Bring J.K. Simmons back. Bring him, because they crossed over with the different universes. I don't care. Like, you could bring him. You could do whatever you want. I think he's spectacular as Jonah Jameson personally. So I don't care. Or
Oh
if you
yeah,
want to,
no, yeah, and even the way that they decided to treat him in the MCU as J. Jonah Jameson, where he's not, he doesn't run a paper. He's like Alex
with
Jones kind
Alex
of a
Jones,
creature,
yeah,
right? That was fine. I thought, honestly, I thought that was kind of a funny modern take on,
yeah,
because yeah, he is essentially a conspiracy theorist guy, right? Because he's like, the Spider-Man is a menace, and everyone else is like,
right.
but we like him. He's a good guy. No, he's really a menace. And so the idea that he would instead play out as a character who is uh, more of an Alex Jones type, I thought was kind of funny, honestly. So
It
I,
was.
I,
I
I would
actually.
be fine with that. If that continued in this story, we continued that. Maybe they couldn't afford him. Maybe he wasn't available. I don't know. But it's silly that, yeah, that there's never any hint of how he pays for all the things that he has. Even a throwaway line of
He
oh,
built an app.
still had that grant money from Tony Stark, or you know what I
Ye-
mean, something like that would have
right.
made sense.
Something with money that he still held on to. There's another thing that they could have done. Uh, for example, well, they couldn't because it was Ned's app. But you know what? If he had an app, or if he created the app for Spider-Man himself, and Ned used it, and the reason he created it is he knows. You know how with the Daily Bugle, he would take pictures of Spider-Man. because sorry, he would take pictures of Spider-Man because he is Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? That's how traditionally that worked. Now, in this case, you could say in our day and age, newspaper, pictures, photographer, it's all kind of passe. You could have made it that instead that he
Uh-huh.
created the Spider-Man app. Are you with
Yeah.
me?
Well,
And
even he could have created the Spider Tracker app, which that would have been funny, right? If he was the one that made
right,
it.
that would have been the funny twist that he created it, and he always knows where he is, and the reason he created it is because he knows that people will pay for it, but he actually takes, like, the money, and that's how he gets supported for being Spider-Man. It's an idea, you know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
something he could have done there. I
There
also
there
don't.
was there was something else in this. We'll talk about it later, but there was something else in this that I was like, "Oh wow, he would be a trillionaire for the thing that he creates in this movie." But I'll mention it again later.
Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that in my review, but you're right. There's also a lot of nonsense here. And how does he just sits there? He has like a whole. He sits in the dumpiest apartment, but still probably cost a few $1,000 or $1,000. Is there? How does he make his money? Nobody knows. He has like fancy equipment and computers in his home. He's just sitting there. How
Yeah,
does he have all that? No explanation. Nobody says anything. And like you said about the other thing, give us a throwaway line. Give us something that he was left with something, maybe even that everybody forgot who he was, but there was something that he managed to take that had some value. It didn't even have to be something that's worth $1 million. Maybe Tony gave him something, and that something is still, it didn't go away. It's still with him, and he can sell it. I don't know what. Give us any kind of explanation as to how he's paying his bills and doing these, like, building these highly sophisticated chips from his toilet, Sorry, go on. What
exactly.
else?
No,
What happens afterwards? Yeah. What
no. So
next? So
no. Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, um, all right. So we talk about the movie plot. So, we talked about the montage. We talked about a bunch of other stuff. Picking up from there is the tank chase. So after we get through the
Right.
montage and he's done, we see him. He's like I said, during this montage, this is the movie I want to see. We see briefly he's fighting the character Tombstone. Who we see that where he's fighting the characters, and we see where he's fighting. In at least maybe once or twice, he's fighting Scorpion. It gets some funny quips
Right.
in there, smashes him with a piano, funny stuff like this is I wanted to see this movie. I wanted to
Right.
see him being this, the ground level hero beating up on his typical rogues gallery. Like that, I want to see that. But we just get a montage of it instead, and a whole lot of that montage filled with the black detective, the black woman, DeWolf is her name, who I guess is actually from the comics. I don't remember, but that's all we really get. I mean, we do get some more of a
Couldn't they
few of
have
these
brought a
villains.
hotter woman? Oh, but the MJ, he has to be with MJ. But
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
problem I have. I just wanted something different. Why does it have to always be like, MJ? I think part of it may be the MCU and part of it Kevin Feige and, listen, let's be honest here, and I think that these things have a lot to do with it. Not only is she his wife in real life, so there's an incentive there, like maybe he even when he renewed some deal or whatever, like he has a say, you know what I mean? It's his wife. We also saw it with what's his face with Odyssey. I think they auditioned him and they ended up booking him and Zendaya or vice versa.
Hmm.
Same thing. I'm not saying the same thing happened here because she was in the franchise, but I think that they're kind of a package deal, and maybe they even lobby to be in the same movie or whatever it is. So that's one thing. The other thing is that Zendaya, and I always say this, she has a lot of social media followers. She is sort of, I always say this and I always feel like a dick for saying it, but I don't have any other way to explain it. I think that much like The Rock, she's sort of a crossover person that she's I hate saying this because I sound like a douche, but this is really there's no other way for me to explain it, so I'll explain it again and sound like a douche again. Uh, Basically, she's not she's almost white enough to be white and almost almost black enough to be black, And somehow this kind of crossover, mixed heritage thing, I think that the studio really likes that. In addition, she also built a brand that she has a lot of social media followers. She behaves nicely, like, and I'll give her credit for one thing. I don't hate her. I think that she's in too many movies and given roles sometimes that she's not right for. But I think that one thing that I have to say, every interview that I've seen to date that she's interviewed, she seems really nice. And not only does she seem nice, she doesn't, put her foot in her mouth with all this weird shit that she says. She seems like very professional and decent. I don't think something negative about Tom Holland in that respect either. They seem pretty decent. They don't seem like they're not causing trouble every second, if you know what I'm trying to say.
I agreed. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is that yeah, so I was a bit of a douche, and she checks, like people say, maybe a lot of boxes and whatever. I don't dislike her, and I also don't blame her. If I had 20 million social media followers and people knew me from when I was a child star, and then I also had multiple demographics and all the studios were giving me all this money, I would take the money and run. So I have no bad feelings towards her for being a good businesswoman and taking all the money that's offered her. That's what you should do. Now, when it comes to this movie, I think that, we could have moved on without MJ and without Ned. Give Peter Parker a different love interest. Man, that would have been cool.
Yes. I would much have preferred that we cut complete ties with the previous characters in the series, that we left Ned and MJ behind, and he found new connections, right? Maybe he found the real Mary Jane Watson, right? Maybe that happened, or so, you know what I mean? Like, he made connections with new people rather than having to go back to the other characters. Now, I would say I don't entirely hate the times when they're back together. The camaraderie and the friendship and everything that they have there. I'm okay with that. I just, yeah, it's
I'll put it this way, and I said it in my review. Considering the fact that I was annoyed that they're even in this movie, once they're on screen, I would even say that probably Zendaya and this Jacob Batalon, best performances in these roles. I felt like they weren't obnoxious, and some of those scenes were even poignant and had some kind of value. If you're going that route of he's lonely and he misses her, there's some things that they do with it that are not completely terrible. I wouldn't have wanted this to begin with, but once you made that creative decision, it could have turned out worse than what we got in the movie, if you know what I'm trying to say.
sure.
So at least that's not a disaster. And I think that out of all the movies, she was probably the most likable in this one. Make of that what you will. But see, so I'm not just an asshole. Like, I gave her a compliment even within this movie. After saying that I prefer that she wouldn't be in it, I said that once she was in it, at least she wasn't the worst part of the movie, if you know what I'm trying to say. It wasn't awful, like,
No, no, yeah,
it was fine, it was fine, and it at least they made use of her in a way that was relevant to whatever plot they were going for, even though you and I can criticize that plot, but at least they did something with her. So we have that situation. Then, you have, basically, there's that damage control, there's a
Oh, the whole thing with damage control drives me up the wall. Now, I don't know exactly what happened in the comic books, okay? I can't count myself as being, the person who knows everything about Marvel comics and damage control in the comics, or whatever. But okay, we were introduced to damage control in the first of the Spider-Man film, the Homecoming film, right? That was when we first met damage control,
yeah,
because that was the reason that Michael Keaton's character becomes a bad guy.
uh,
Remember, because he's out there trying to clean up the mess, after the aliens attacked, the
Right.
Chitauri attacked New York City, and then Damage Control rolls in, and they're like, "Nope, we're taking over all of this stuff, whatever." And it ends up costing his company a ton of money, and he loses out on all these contracts and all sorts of stuff, and so he starts stealing the tech and selling it. And that's what creates the Vulture. Is what creates his character. That was Damage Control. Damage Control's job was coming in and cleaning up, right? Like,
Yeah.
they came in and they cleaned up the messes behind the superheroes, the messes from these alien attacks and all of this other stuff. And that was what they did. And yes, they did collect, like, when there was somebody that was like fused with the tech or misusing the tech or something like that, they would collect these people, and we see that, right? But it's not just them. There's like other law enforcement stuff that's involved with it. It wasn't simply Damage Control just picking people up and then locking them away. Plus, we've also seen in previous films that there is already a prison for people with superpowers. No? Right? We saw that in Civil War.
Right.
Right? There is a prison. There's the I don't remember if they called it the Raft there. There's in the Spider-Man universe, there's the Raft, which is in in the Bay in New York.
Is this
But
Phobos in the chat? I sent him a DM. Maybe he fell
yeah,
asleep.
Ista's out there, and Rebecca Gold, Mega Geek, is out there as well.
I sent to Ista, and then I sent to Rebecca Gold,
Yeah.
and I hope that they join us.
Yeah, hopefully they'll hop in with us here in a minute. But they have this whole thing with the Damage Control thing, where they're apparently now this extra judicial group that can just snatch people off the street if they suspect they have superpowers. It's bizarre. It's very strange, and I don't understand how like it became that from what it was before. Like, that's
somebody
not
is
really
asking if Damage Control is ice. Even if they thought that, it's not done in a way that like they hammer it over the head with you. I don't think that's like. I'm usually good at sniffing out when they're hitting you over the head with like blunt propaganda. I didn't feel like they were really dwelling on that too much. You could say that maybe somebody thought of that, but I didn't feel that it was exactly like that.
It was not a 1-to-1 kind of thing. No.
And I will say that I enjoyed seeing the guy from Severance. I think he's a good actor. But again, all these actors, they just show up for essentially, a mega cameo. Speaking of mega, I think we have Mega Geek here with us.
And we have Istaphobos as well. Hey, Mega Geek.
Okay, let me try to find Mega
Ian.
Geek here.
Oh, hold on a second.
All right, I should be up.
Oh, there's Ista. Hey there.
I can't find Mega Geek's image.
I tried to get a Spidey suit for the bear, but I was still working on it. A little cute cartoon. Hey, Ian, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Hey, can I just say, this really, I super chatted it. This felt like the ultimate safe Marvel movie. Like every single bit came from a different movie. You can name it. You could, like, the stealing of the clothes, all that. It just, like, I didn't hate it, but it was very hard to, like, even care. I don't know. I'm just watching it, and like there were some good things I liked about it, but it just felt like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that I also said about it. You have some people that are like, this is the best movie ever made. It's not the best movie ever made. It's not the best movie ever made. It's not the best Spider-Man ever made. But the one thing I'll say is that if you compare it to a lot of those MCU movies from, since Endgame or whatever it is, it wasn't unwatchable. It wasn't that I sat there and I said every single thing I suffered, but we'll get to the things that I thought were better. But right now we're still kind of ripping apart the story, which is dumb.
We do. Oh, hey there, Megan.
Sorry.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
hi. I was just saying that the thing I've seen it again, right? So I've seen it twice now.
Wow.
The thing I hated, yeah, it's not by
With your
choice. Let me
nephew.
tell you.
Oh,
His
wait,
nieces.
wait, I want to
But
thank Rumble. It seems like they're recommending our stream to people. So I want to be thankful here
Fantastic.
to Rumble.
nice.
Rumble is a great
Yeah.
platform for freedom of speech. If you're watching on the Rumble app and you haven't yet signed up, you should sign up right now because it's free. And then you can follow us and you'll be able to watch all of our streams live, which is a lot of people. That's what they aspire to. They want to subscribe to Rumble, sign up, and watch the Night Owl. And yeah, I want to help you. I want to help you through that journey.
Yeah, I'll go over to Rumble if you might need the extra mods.
Sorry, I was just saying that the thing I noticed about it the second time round is how evil Jean Grey was. Now,
Yeah,
she
we will
was.
definitely get there, but
Yeah.
You're jumping ahead. We're
they
still ripping
try-
apart the earlier parts.
they try
What
real
early
hard.
parts?
They try real hard to make her sympathetic, but in the end, it's more like remember from the WandaVision show at the end,
Yeah.
where everyone's trying to be like, "Oh, you'll never know they'll never understand what you sacrifice for them or whatever." And it's like, no, she's evil as hell. She imprisoned people for months and took away their identities and violated them horribly. No, she is not a sympathetic character.
Professor, what do you think if they had a man actually mind grape hundreds of people like Jean just did? There would be public outrage. Like the amount of people she violated in this was because once she's in there, she obviously knows everything like right away. And,
yes,
and
which is also one of the major plot holes in this movie.
Yeah,
but we'll get there.
Yeah, we're not supposed. I mean, what bits are you talking about here? You talking?
Oh,
about
we were just kind of walking through this. We were just kind of walking through the story.
I started off because you joined us now. I started off by saying that I never needed Zendaya and Ned in this movie.
Oh,
yeah.
And I said that the police officer, instead of her having kids and Zendaya being in the movie, they could have brought a really hot actress, and then maybe Peter has a different love interest. but they didn't make any effort. Like it's just, and there's so many people in small roles that like the Punisher. I thought that there was a way to really build this friendship between them, but instead we get it very kind of superficial and shallow because there's so many characters here, like the Hulk and Banner, with people that you could just remove. You could remove some of this stuff from the movie, and it would actually make the movie better if you remove half of the things we see on screen. The hand completely wasted too. But yeah, go on.
Sorry, because I can't remember who said it. I think it's Melvin that said this on X because they're using Spider-Man as the Trojan horse.
No, that was me.
Oh, was it you? Sorry.
Yeah,
You said something really important on X. They are using Spider-Man to bolster other characters that are not very successful in the Marvel universe.
I even had a picture of it.
Yeah.
I even had a little Trojan horse as a picture.
Yeah, but
dressed as
was
Spider-Man.
it a bronze Trojan horse?
Yeah.
No. It was painted like Spider-Man.
But this is
that was a nice post, Ista.
This is what's happening here with everything. There was no need for the Hulk. If you took the Hulk out of the whole story, it wouldn't change the thing. Also, the policewoman comes from that computer game. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's whatever. Yeah. But anyway, if you took her out, there would be no difference to the story whatsoever.
And Yelena didn't tell him anything he shouldn't have been able to figure out from a... That was my big problem. If you were watching this, you wouldn't think Peter Parker is the smart one. You would think Zendaya is the better engineer, sciencey person. She has to figure out his problem, and Yelena has to Google, the bad guys.
Yeah, but Esther, she did. Do you remember that bit in it where he was trying to figure out why that thing wouldn't work? I knew it in my head. I was going, yep. Zambuca's going to tell him. Zambuca's going to tell him, and she did.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't use any of his intelligence or cleverness. All the problems are either solved by his women friends or, talking it out. This should be Spider-Man talking it out, New Day. Like even the Hulk, I expected him to do something really clever. against
just
the
put him
Hulk.
in there.
But no, he's just like, Bruce, we're friends. Which, when did that happen? And then
Also, the Hulk is incredibly powerful. Spider-Man gets thumped by him, punched in the face. I'm like, he'll be dead. Also,
Well-
like, it's just the little things that bother me. Like when in the
Yeah.
beginning where he meets the Punisher, and then Spider-Man goes through and he kicks the glass and he kicks the Punisher out of the vehicle. I'm like, that guy would have been A&E, or even worse. You know what I mean? He'd be dead. Do you know what I mean? Those kind of things really bother me.
Yeah, the very first thing I noted was that a helicopter pilot would not just take the word of somebody on the pad to transfer a dangerous prisoner somewhere else. He would have verified those orders by radio. Like,
also,
it's just those little things that put you out
Also,
of the verisimilitude.
Another thing, right? Why would you get jump into an old lady, put her in a tank, and drive her all the way, smash through the thing so that she can get Scorpion? And she didn't even use Scorpion. And why would she put a bomb? See, just shows how evil she is. She puts a bomb in the tank. Why?
Why didn't she just jump into the head of the guard and unlock his cage and let him get, like, none of that made any sense.
Literally everything she wants to know is in Bill's head.
Yeah.
So why didn't she just find Bill at home and jump into his head?
I have to give them credit. I'm going to say they made the black guy evil. I wasn't sure they were going to do that, but they did.
That was one of the only a mild surprise. The thing is, I thought he would be evil, but really the only thing keeping me from thinking that it would be that was maybe because of what you just said, because they don't usually do that. And then they did it. And it's so weird that I thought what you thought, Ista, because that's not what we should be thinking while watching the movie.
Yeah.
But after everything we've seen over the past 10 years, immediately when that happens, you're like, oh,
listen,
they made this guy the villain.
How does his AI know this? And I quoted it: prolonged isolation and emotional trauma will cause these symptoms. Really, like,
the same
I know
way
Hollywood loves their trauma, but for fuck's sake.
The same way it knows exactly what his senses are feeling at any given time and can explain everything that's happening to him in his body on a moment's notice. It's truly magic AI. Yeah,
don't even talk to me about the ending. Don't talk to me about that stupid ending.
You know,
there's no way you would go into a hospital with that kind of injury and they won't take your mask off. Sorry, but that's just bollocks. Absolute rubbish.
A 50 caliber round.
Oh, yes. No, I don't even want to get into that.
2,000 meters will still have the kinetic energy of 1.355 kilojoules, or about 1,000 foot-pounds, easily penetrating 3 people minimum.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one, if we get to that later in the movie, but the way that particular scene plays out, and then him taking a 50 millimeter sniper slug in the back. It would not only would it have torn a hole in him big enough to put your hand through, it would also have done the same to her, because that is not a 9 millimeter round that's going to hit you and then just rattle around inside you a little bit. Maybe that is a 50 millimeter anti-material rifle. It is going to mess you
and then
up.
And then what they did from that point on, they swapped the story from Spider-Man to Jean Grey. It's suddenly Aunt May's talking to Jean Grey. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, this is ridiculous. The second time around I was looking at it, I was thinking, oh, come on. They're doing the same thing they did in WandaVision and every other bloody trying to make the villain look like she's misunderstood and all that. Right? When she's murdered someone, she killed someone with a taxi.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
It's like, what?
I agree. I will say that did not bother me as much, because we did know from the story that she did not have parents. She was an orphan. Her mother abandoned her and her sister. That we're told that in the story. So I was okay with the thing where, you know, she's kind of in his head, and now she's hearing the speech that Aunt May gave to Peter, and it's advice that she did not get from her own, because she didn't have a mother that loved her. So
Okay,
I do.
Hold on, hold on.
I
Let me
appreciate
point something
that
out.
part
Let me
of
point
it.
something out.
But,
Let me point something out.
yeah.
Why wasn't she just standing there looking at Peter Parker and the mother? Why did she suddenly become Peter Parker? That's the
It's
thing
a
that
metaphor.
bothered me.
It's a metaphor for the movie.
I know it is, but I
Yeah,
don't
she
care.
replaced
If
him.
she should have been just standing there watching Peter, watching Aunt May's love transfer to Peter. That's what she should be doing. Not become Spider-Man. Not be replacing Peter Parker. Which obviously, again, you could look at it as a slight bit of woke, which it probably is anyway. But that's what I mean. This is some of the things that bothered me about the film completely. She murdered someone. She killed someone with a taxi.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
she kills more than just one guy, but yeah, there is one person she kills in cold blood because she's possessing a guy who's like a road worker, and he like
yes, and
she
he gets
talks
hit by
and he just takes 2 steps back and is just killed by a vehicle going 40 miles an hour.
Absolutely,
Didn't
she does.
it feel
I
like
forgot about that, yeah.
Didn't it feel like the HR department cast this movie? The biggest thing I have to say about this movie is there were no characters in it. Every other person they added was just an exposition sounding board to bounce exposition off. There really wasn't any character. Everybody in here was so that somebody could explain something else to them and advance the plot. It didn't really feel, outside of a little bit of Frank and Peter, it didn't feel like there were actual characters. And God knows, Yelena, you can tell that was shoehorned in. She didn't need to be there. The Hulk didn't need to be there, but
no, but they want to keep shoving their silly things. That's why, like,
I know.
Kevin Feige is desperate to make Yelena a thing. He's just gonna shove her into everything because she has to have a role in like in Doomsday and Secret Wars, whatever it is that they're doing, and he's just trying to give her some kind of more high profile stuff so that you like her when you see her. He's heavily promoting her.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's not just a Trojan horse for trying to boost up their dying characters that nobody cares about. It's also a Trojan horse for merchandise because Marvel doesn't make the majority of money off this movie, but they do get all the merchandising movie. So the more characters they throw in there, the more action figures they can release in the Brand New Day line of action figures.
Yeah, that crap doesn't get bought anyway. But I know what you mean. Yeah, they're definitely somewhere, but they can make money. But yeah, so yeah, let's jump back a little bit, just kind of walking through the movie because we're jumping around a lot, but that's fine. So yeah, we were talking about the tank chase. Honestly, what the action scene itself? What did you think? I enjoyed it. I thought it was well filmed.
Those were for me some of the better moments when it comes to like the action and the action scenes. I thought that they were pretty decent. Those were the moments when I'm like, man, they have some people that are doing this that are not doing a poor job here. If only they could have gotten the story down better.
Yeah, no, the action scenes were absolutely awesome, but I can't really care about that if they don't have a legitimate reason for happening. If the story is weak, it's just like special effects. It's just there for its own sake. But that being said, man, they were kind of exciting to watch. It was very cool. And I wasn't bothered too much by this Spider-Man being super techie, 3D printer and AI, because that's kind of the world we live in. He's not going to be using a sewing machine and a scratch pad anymore.
He's not going to be drawing out his designs on a piece of paper. Yeah,
but I still want to see Peter Parker being one of the smartest things on the planet. As soon as Zendaya got into MIT, that broke my immersion because boy, that shit ain't
that's silly. Yeah, so the tank is headed towards the damage control lockup. They're trying to figure out what it's doing. This is where we're introduced to the Punisher. Frank Castle is also chasing after. We see this in the trailers. We see the two of them going together. interacting during this chase. We saw actually almost the entire scene in the earlier trailers, at least every part that matters. And they do end up. He does end up stopping the tank. But again, I thought it was a really well done action scene. It was a lot of fun. But that at the end of that is when we actually saw they released this clip, I think earlier, where you are introduced to this mysterious villain that's possessing people, right? And for some reason there's a 50-year-old janitor who's driving this tank, which makes no sense.
And it has a bomb in it, and his spider sense doesn't go off.
His spider sense doesn't detect it. No. We also when this scene is finished, we also we once again meet the female mentor cop, DeWolf. She's there, but then he's chasing down this possession things, jumping from person to person. And you never asked yourself what's in the tank. It was terrible delivery for that line.
What a murderer! She wanted to kill everyone with a bomb.
Yeah, she wanted to kill a bunch of people inside damage control. Obviously, that's the only possible reason that she would have put a bomb inside a tank and rammed it into a building. She wanted to kill people.
I want regular bad guys again. I'm so tired of these misunderstood.
Oh, that's all that Hollywood can do.
What? Right. I mean, this is something
Hollywood
that I
can do now.
I wanted to address that more in my review, but I didn't want to go full spoiler, so I didn't want to, maybe I can separately do later a different review that has spoilers there, but I guess that's what we're doing here. I agree. First of all, not only do I agree with you, Ista, that I'm tired of the sympathetic female asshole villain that wants to kill people. Really tired of this. It's sending also the wrong message, There's enough kind of weird ladies doing weird things these days, and I don't know why they're so eager to send them that message.
And the little somebody mentioned, and they all have the power fantasy of cheating on their boyfriends too, which is just
they want to they want to cheat on their boyfriends. They have to be better than their boyfriends, and also they're bad, but when they're bad they're good, and they're misunderstood, and you have to like them even if they've done the most horrible things. It's such a strange. If it was in one case you say okay, they did it once, but this is their thing now. This is all they do. So that's annoying. And sorry, go on.
Sorry, just about to say, Jean Grey's one of the most powerfulest characters in the Marvel universe.
She's an Omega level mutant.
Yeah, I suspect when I was watching it again, I'm like, is she going to be the safe? Is she going to beat Doctor Doom coming up, in Doomsday or the last one? Is she, because a woman's going to beat Doctor Doom, don't you? You know that no male's going to beat Doctor Doom in the upcoming thing. So maybe they're setting that up, that she's
maybe they are. They want her to be
the
future of the franchise, and in addition, they're also they probably tried something like this with Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel was a flop. You know what I mean? It succeeded in the theater, but the character didn't connect with the audiences. Now, in that case, they chose Brie Larson, and she wasn't exactly like little girls loving Brie Larson. You know what I mean? She didn't have that kind of fan base. On the other hand, Sadie Sink does have that fan base. All the people, all the girls or whatever like her. They watched her on Stranger Things and all this stuff. She's exactly... from a marketing,
she's the same character. She's Max in this movie,
right? She's Max in this movie.
She definitely sounds like Max.
She sounds and looks like Max,
I mean,
she sounds and looks like her. She acts that way. They are capitalizing 100% on Stranger Things and the way she's perceived on that show. They took her, they put her in here, and they probably want her to. Like I said, this is Captain Marvel 2.0. 1.0, they made them their mistakes, and secretly they probably sat and thought, well, what did we do wrong? And the first thing that somebody says, we didn't choose a woman who's already popular with little girls. We didn't go for that popularity thing. This time we're going to do better. And that's why they brought Sadie Sink. And I agree with you. By the time Secret Wars comes along, you're going to see all of them. They're going to be like defeated, and it's all the worst thing ever. And suddenly Sadie Sink is going to show up and save the entire universe, galaxy, whatever the fuck dimensions, whatever you want. She's going to save it all.
Yes, that's what's probably going to happen.
Go ahead.
Just a brief thing about damage control. If you have a building where you're holding hundreds of the most dangerous, powerful, metahumans, you're not going to put it in the heart of New York freaking city, and you're going to have at least 2 walls around the thing.
Well, yeah.
Even if you had a tank, you wouldn't be able to drive it into the doorstep.
And that's, again, I mentioned this before. They already have a super max prison for people with superpowers. It's called the Raft.
3 of them.
And
don't they also have the Cube? Or am I mixing up movies?
I think there's in the comics they do they have a few different ones, but at the very least we know that the Raft exists because we do see it. We see who gets what. There's a number of them that get locked up there at the end of Civil War. Yeah, there's they get locked up, and so they already have this supermax prison for people with powers, right? Even though they lock up Ant-Man there for some reason, even though he doesn't have superpowers, but whatever. It's so it's kind of dumb that it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna lock him up in this rickety old building, like right there on the mainland. It's so bizarre. Yeah.
Do you know, just on a side note, when I saw the scene with Jean Grey and her sister in the park, that is Battersea Park. That's like two roads away from me. I was quite surprised they shot it there. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. I live near that park. Yeah. There you go.
Now, this just may be an old crotchety thing, but I swear I look at Sadie Sink and I see somebody barely out of pre-K. Like, Famke Jensen at any point in my life always looked like a grown woman. These kids look like kids to me. Like,
yeah.
They're trying to reach Gen Z, aren't they?
Exactly. Well, this is a very Gen Z movie, I would say.
This is what they should have done. This is what they should have done. And we talked about a bit about this, Professor. They should have not brought MJ back, not Ned, not all this, not Hulk, all most of the crap that we talked about, and not Jean Grey. We remove it all. He's by himself. He doesn't have the technology. He doesn't have money. And now the Scorpion, who's been teased for a few movies, is going around and he's a villain. And he, for example, doesn't have any way of dealing with him because he doesn't have that backing that he did before. So he makes friends with like the Punisher. And I would even say instead of Daredevil, that stupid shitty show on Disney Plus, they should have just done nothing with that and just plant Daredevil and Punisher here in a movie with him, have them, go up against, Scorpion, or maybe Scorpion also has his own kind of local mobs or whatever it is. I don't give a shit what you do. Make it more grounded and make it just that there's a few characters. I wouldn't have minded seeing like a team-up movie of Punisher, Daredevil, and Spider-Man. And I wouldn't have minded seeing like an actual Scorpion or whatever it is. They just, everything they did here was just an afterthought. And they never really dig deep. They never create some kind of menacing villain that you really care about.
Yeah, it also feels really shallow. And I'll tell you, everybody's going, oh, finally a street level movie. I'm like, when you have Jean Grey and the Hulk, this is not street level. It may be happening on a street, but this is no longer street level. And the Scorpion, this may be a particular engineering thing. Just, it felt so fake and weightless because the center of gravity of that huge tail, he never walked or moved like he had all that weight in the back. It just felt, weightless and lacked gravitas. Did anybody else notice that, or is that just
it's kind of goofy? It's kind of silly. The better versions that they've shown in some of the comics and in the video games, like there's actually like a mechanical suit that like actually help he's fully encased in a mechanical suit that helps balance everything and the weight of the tail and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but, I mean you could do that in live action, but they never. They don't show it correctly. Yeah.
So speaking of street level, small potatoes, right? The next scene in the film is still still trying to make
Humiliation.
Elena
King.
happen.
Yeah.
Why do they still try to make Elena happen? I like the actress. I like Florence Pugh.
I used to
but
like
I'm
her.
sorry. This character is a nothing burger. She is not Scarlett Johansson. She is not Black Widow. She's just a walking punchline most of the time, and that's no different in this film. They go to visit her, or he goes to visit her in her office. Which is just an old spa.
It's a Russian gangster
bathhouse.
Yeah, bathhouse. And
to be honest, in New York City, you do have those kind of
bathhouses.
You have stuff like that.
John Wick, remember?
Yeah, but it's usually men that's in those things. It's not women.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I'm sorry, when somebody's trying to break open the prison that has your dangerous meta, that's not small potatoes anymore.
No.
That's like, where's Thor?
when you're involving the Hulk, when you're involving a super powered mutant that's trying to, or super powered person, they don't know mutants yet, but the super powered person who's trying to, steal all this information, bring all this stuff. This is not what counts as big potatoes, Elena. Like, seriously.
Yeah. And Spider-Man's been to another planet. He's saved the galaxy. He's not small potatoes. It was another humiliation ritual to put the male hero through.
I just feel like their version of big potatoes is just them working on their marketing plan to
but you can
sell
see
more.
You can see they're still trying to push the message into these films, and they're not going to stop. I mean, Elena, there was no reason for her to be in this movie. Again, I agree with Esther. What they're using Spider-Man to promote the ones that they really want to work outside, in the MCU. And that character is not popular. So again, they're doing the same thing with Brie Larson, trying to push her up there where she doesn't belong. She doesn't belong.
She's not as bad as Brie Larson was. I have to say,
this is a boys' brand. It's not a girl's
I'm kind of
brand.
hungry for potatoes now, though.
Yeah, small potatoes.
But what I will say is this is just my 2 cents. After Scarlett Johansson was not going to be Black Widow and they're bringing for like a different Black Widow, they needed to think, and I'm not saying it has to be this actress that I'm going to say, but they needed to think of somebody like along the lines of a Sydney Sweeney. Even if it's not Sydney Sweeney herself, you need somebody that has a real female presence to replace something like Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. Yelena, unfortunately, I mean, I think that Florence Pugh is a decent actress. I don't hate her acting or whatever it is, but she is not that kind of actress. You know,
she's not sexy, and the thing about Black Widow is she used her sex appeal as a weapon.
Right. She has to be sexy. Florence Pugh is maybe somebody you could call cute, but she is not sexy. She's not like, and I say that also, I'm just an average, middle-aged dude. It's not that, it's not cool for me if somebody that looked like her talked to me, that would be fine. But we're not talking about what a middle-aged man would or wouldn't do, if somebody talked to him. We're looking at this more from a Hollywood glamour perspective, and you can't take Scarlett Johansson and then replace her with Florence Pugh. I'm sorry.
I'm just glad that we didn't get her and meeting another character, another female character or something, and talking about their periods in this movie, because
Robin, I've seen other people say this.
Go ahead.
The sterilization procedure.
Kodo Rob says should have been Sweeney playing Black Cat, who was with Spidey in the spa, and not Yelena. I would have been fine with that.
Yep, we got a $10 Rumble rant from some late guy.
Oh, okay. Some late guy, Long Island 90. Where is he?
Scroll back up just a bit there.
Found it. Okay. Some late guy, Long Island 90. We need more villains like. Sorry, $10. Yes, thank you so much for the $10 Rumble rant. Thank you. We need more villains like Clarence Boddicker from RoboCop. That was a great villain. He didn't have a backstory or whatever. He was just pure evil, and he was amazing. RoboCop was great because the villains worked. Well, to be honest, with Clarence Boddicker, you could have a guy that was one-dimensional, because with Dick Jones, there was a little more to his
Yeah, he
character.
was the real villain.
He was the real villain, and you understood what motivated him. So having, the 1-2 punch of Dick Jones, the guy in the suit, and Clarence Bodiger, the guy on the ground, just kind of executing what he needs, I think that was perfect. So well thought out, so well executed. At the end of the day, these are dudes that seem like they're evil dudes. It was perfect. Also, Clarence Bodiger was unique because when you look at that actor, you don't initially think that guy is going to be some big criminal.
Yeah, yeah. He looks like a nerd, office dude,
right?
But he's brutal.
He's brutal, but the fact that it's him, and then like he totally sells you on it that that is probably the first time that they had a guy that looks like you said as Defoe like a nerd, but you were concerned about that nerd. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he's one of the best villains of all time, and so is Dick Jones. They made a perfect pairing.
Yeah. What's interesting about that character, Clarence, is that, and also the direction from what's his name? I can't remember the
Verhoeven.
Verhoeven. Yeah.
You remember in the old days where they used to use props to emphasize a point? There's 2 points where Clarence used props, isn't he? The bit where he spits on the the report with blood, and also the bit where he's talking to the guy. They're trying to do a deal, and he puts his fingers in his wine or something, doesn't he? And then the other guy drinks it after he's put his fingers in there. It's things like that I miss from movies. They're small little things. In this Spider-Man film, they had nothing like that at all. Absolutely nothing. It's very much directed by a Gen Z person, and well, it probably isn't. But you know what I mean. All the stuff that made Hollywood films great is missing from these modern films now.
Yeah,
I'm sad that we're not getting the real stuff anymore. You know,
it didn't help that I just rewatched The Manchurian Candidate, which is one of the most incredible.
The original,
John Frankenheimer one, of course. Yeah. I mean, you just don't see that kind of direction and sophistication. You don't think about it in the early 60s, but you don't see anything like that now.
The reason why this film seems bloated is one, because the screenplay, wasn't. I don't know who wrote the screenplay, but it feels like someone that was inexperienced wrote this.
Yeah,
with the guidance of someone who knew how to write scripts. And when you have two people, or when you have 3 people trying to force someone that's inexperienced, you don't get it right, because the person that's inexperienced is trying to fight for what he believes in the script, which is inexperience, and you've got these people around him that's experienced trying to make it right. And at the end of the day, I reckon the inexperienced person won, because if you look at that film, it's bloated. It's got things in there that you don't need at all.
This was written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. This is the same team that wrote the previous 3 Spider-Man films.
Well, they should be shot then. They should be shot because it's awful.
No, don't say that. Don't say that.
I'm just that's a joke.
Joking. I just want to. Here at Price of Reason Studios, I want to clarify that we sometimes tell jokes. That was 100% a joke. We didn't mean it. Yeah, it's not true, and we take no responsibility for anything. Now,
but this, and yes, then this was also directed. This was directed by the director of Shang-Chi.
Justin Kuritzakis was the script doctor on it, and I have a feeling he had a lot of work to do.
That's what I'm saying. You can still feel the message going all the way through. It's very subtle. They're trying to be subtle now, but as I said, people like Gary and the drinker, and they're all pointing out all this stuff. Some of the stuff I couldn't see because it was so subtle. Do you know what I mean? So
if it's so subtle that nobody notices, I don't really care if it's there, but it's not that subtle, and we notice it too. We don't need those guys to point that stuff out to us. It's kind of obvious.
No, but what I'm saying is that for normies, it just like the first time I watched it, right, some things escaped me, of course. And then when I was listening to their reviews, I was listening to your review, then, then you point it out and I'm like, oh yeah, so.
I'm curious, what were some of those specific things?
What's that? For what?
That escaped you during the movie that you found out later, or that you noticed on your second viewing?
Well, the Hulk, for one, the Hulk, how evil Jean Grey was to use the Hulk. Because everybody knows that once you've released Savage Hulk, he's going to kill a lot of people if he's not stopped. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things. I mean, I knew she killed someone with a car. I saw that in the film, but I didn't realize that her jumping into the Hulk was, it's just literally put. Why was she forgiven at the end? I don't understand that.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
At least they showed her having problems being in his head instead of just casually controlling him. Like, I thought maybe she's going to have a seizure or something. There's a comic run where the Hulk is actually erased from existence and reality, but he reformed because the anger in him was so enormous that the void could not contain it. And it's a little silly but comic-y, but that kind of tells you that no one should be able to control the Hulk. If Banner can't, nobody.
Yeah. And I do think that's why she struggles to keep control of him, because he does have some of his own, mental control, because he's had to do so to be able to contain the other guy, as Bruce repeatedly says. But
you do realize that the hero of this movie was Marissa Tomei. She's like not just a woman, like an expired one. And listen, I didn't mind. But you're right. Like when they literally erased Peter and put her in his place, and I there was something a little satisfying about seeing her again. But where is the cleverness of Spider-Man's incredibly strong. Like he can wipe out all of the new Avengers except for Sentry without even, breaking up a sweat. So he's not small potatoes. But where is the clever, super smart? He had a little bit of sass to him. There are a couple jokes that were funny. But
it's missing.
Let the other people around him just show him up constantly, and that bothered me.
And also, the bit where he was talking to MJ, where she finds the letter. I'm like, what? The letter was where? Because I'm confused now. The letter was where Punisher lived. How did that letter get there?
Okay, so the letter was originally in the coffee cup from the donut shop. Yeah, you see that at the beginning of the film. He takes it out. He leaves it on the desk.
Yeah.
Later on, Sadie Sink's character, Jean Grey, she goes into his house. She takes the letter. Remember when she's chasing him, they're fighting with, to get to MJ. She meets him on the street after she's taking control of MJ. She hands the letter back to him. So he has to put that in his suit.
How?
Before they head to Frank Castle's
place. He's got Spidey pockets. Let's just, he's able to hold a phone and around the waistband or something. He
should have a Spider-Man belt like he has in the comics.
Well, that's what it felt like with all the tech he was using. I was thinking Batman's utility belt. Like I said, it's hard to get around that in today's world, but it still seemed like not enough like inherent Spider-Man.
Do you know what it should have been, though? And I agree with Price. It should have been just a standalone Spider-Man story.
Yeah, you're never
can't do that anymore.
Ever.
Yeah, I don't know how. It should have met new MJ with red-haired MJ. You can't use Sadie Sink because she's too young, and I know Tom Holland is 30 now, so it would be a bit weird to use someone of that age. But get some new hot actress to play MJ, have all those villains in it, and just have it grounded. I don't understand why they did this.
Listen, somebody told me, they said Zendaya is MJ now. That's Mary Jane. You best come to terms with it. And I realized we're just not getting that. But surprisingly, she didn't annoy me in this movie. Actually, she's one of the things that didn't bother me.
She was hardly in it. That's
I said it, that this is probably her best performance as this character. I didn't find her annoying. I didn't need her character in the movie, but if they already put her here, I thought that this was probably her best performance.
Yeah.
I don't understand the ending either.
Yeah, listen. Why? okay, I get, DeWolf's from the comics, so, but they swapped her, but
yeah, and she
why
was
did she have to
younger,
be-
and she had a thing for Spidey too in the
yeah,
comics.
what's with all her kids
See,
all
I
the
told
time?
you, I fucking told you that they needed a hot woman and that she has a thing
Yep.
for him. That would have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
interesting. Why
No,
did they give some lady who's like older than him by like many, many years that has like
Because they
kids and
needed a
stuff?
mommy
Yeah.
figure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because he doesn't
And-
have his Aunt May anymore, so they needed a mommy figure that he
Yeah.
could go
Didn't
to get advice. Because young,
didn't need that character
yeah.
at all.
a young
And
We
man
didn't need that
doesn't get
character at all.
advice from
What's
other men
What's with the
anymore.
teenage kids that she's saddled with the whole time? That just seemed, I guess
And
they
no
want to
father.
show like a woman can do it all, but
And no father. Yep.
so this
Always.
was just like Fantastic Four First Steps. The first 10 minutes, the montage, that was all the movie I wanted to see. That was good stuff. That's exactly what happened in the Fantastic Four movie, where they were fighting as a team and coordinated, and they had all the little montagey things. That's the movie I wanted to see, and that's exactly what happened here.
Also, the trailer fooled us because I thought it was going to be more about how Spider-Man was turning into, something else with the black eyes and the web coming out of him and stuff. I thought that was going to come to some conclusion, but it doesn't. He just accepts it. He becomes Spider-Man, Peter Parker too, doesn't he? Or
Yeah, he's
Raimi
evolving.
Peter.
He's evolving
Yeah.
into a more And
That's
they
the heavy-handed theme.
they do foreshadow that with the video that is being voiced over by Keith David of the spider.
Oh,
It talks about
yeah.
the most difficult transition going from being
molting.
molting and going from an adolescent into an adult.
Yeah.
Basically saying like
Yeah.
the transformation that he's going through was inevitable, that it was going to happen, but
And why did Yelena have to bring up Rule 34 stuff with him and Mysterio? That was just not necessary.
I don't know. I laughed at that. I thought it was funny.
Do you know,
Yeah.
honestly, I honestly think that they probably had a really decent script. And then Kevin Feige came in and said, oh, no, we've got to include this character because of what's happening in Secret Wars. Oh, we've got to have this character in there. And that's why I think the script failed. And that's why it's bloated, because I think maybe they had a really decent one that was quite good. That was shorter. And then Kevin Feige came in with his size 9s and went, okay, we have to put this in, we have to work that into the script. Go, boys, go. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it ended up bloated. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
This movie didn't get moved, or did it, when they moved? Avengers Doomsday was supposed to come out last year. Did they?
No, but they were thinking about, obviously they were thinking about how they could link this with the new ones that are coming out, and they've used Spider-Man as a platform because they know how popular he is. That's what
right. But originally it was supposed to come out in between the two Avenger movies. That's my question. So I wonder.
Originally it was, and so I think it was. I don't think this actually got moved or significantly moved anyway.
But I bet they made changes accordingly once Avengers got moved. Yeah.
Yeah,
of course they did.
Yeah, they had to make some changes.
That's what I reckon. That's what I reckon happened. As I said, there were some stupid moments in this film that didn't make any sense. The ending really pissed me off with him. It reminded me of that stupid Superman movie with directed by the guy who directed X-Men when he was in hospital and stuff. Do you remember that Superman movie?
Yeah,
Superman Returns, where when he's in hospital and all that rubbish, and it's like no one would check on his identity. Same thing with this Spider-Man. He's like, he gets operated with his mask still on, So,
and some of the tech, like they scan his DNA, you can know what he looks like. All you have to do is model the DNA into an adult. Like some of the tech is just way too out of hand for this world.
If they were doing a scan that was as deep as what they're showing in because that's actually the next scene is actually where he goes to visit. He goes to visit Damage Control and he meets Bill. But he gets scanned on the way in, and it's like exogenous spider DNA and all this different stuff. It's like, if you did a scan that's that deep, you would literally have just been able to render his face, because of the level of scanning they did. But anyway, he goes to visit and ask Bill about why is this lady, why is this entity trying to attack you? Whatever. Why did they try to get Scorpion and all of this stuff? And of course, he has no answers. This is as we said, this is the character that's being played by Trammell Tillman, Bill Metzger, who is the head of this.
I like that
particular
actor,
group
by the
of
way. I don't have any issue
I
with
do
the
like that actor. I think he's a really good actor. Yes.
He is a good actor.
But yeah, so they go through that, and then he asked them about they discovered there was this search for VMAX that this character was taking over all these people online and using them to search all these databases, hack all these databases to look for VMAX. And he says, "I have no idea what that is." They showed that at the very end.
Yeah, that's how she realizes that
that's
her
when she
sister.
realized. Yeah.
You want to spoil that?
Yeah,
I see. So they didn't want to return a Betamax tape to a.
No.
no.
It's the video.
It's a label on one of the vents, on one of the air vents in the room when she sees
some
it.
letters rubbed off, so it said Vent Max where you open the vent, and then the V was left. So it looked
is her sister dead then? Is her sister dead?
Oh yes, yeah, and you know that she's dead. When I was first was like, what is she alive? Is she dead? Is it something? And then there's some very specific lines from Trammell Tillman from Metzger's character that make it very clear that she is she is expired. Like they killed her.
If this was the comics, when Spider-Man got close to Jean Grey and saying all that, he would have had a inhibitor ready to put at the back of her neck, and that's what the comic version of Spider-Man would have done. You know, I mean, because she has murdered people and stuff like that. Spider-Man's all about justice because of his uncle being killed. So he would have put the inhibitor around her neck and handed her over to the police. But no reason why we can't do that, because it's a woman, and all women has to be great in movies, no matter what they do. Do you know what I mean?
She's a victim. She's the victim. They don't care one bit about the horrible stuff that she's done to people. Just like in WandaVision, that the horrible things she did, well, it's excused because she was a victim. Right.
I do want to say something that's kind of ironic here. The Punisher, they neuter him from this movie.
Absolutely.
He can't shoot anybody, he can't kill anybody. And he usually, when he kills people, they're usually the bad guys. He can't do any of that. They completely neuter him. I still liked seeing him, but he was very neutered.
He's a complete. This is one of my biggest complaints, Price, is that the character of the Punisher appears in this movie, except he's not the Punisher. He is a completely different character from anywhere we have seen him anywhere else in the MCU. He is not acting like the Punisher. He is not talking like the Punisher.
No, and they told him, you know what they told him? I think that probably Kevin Feige took him for a talk and said, listen, usually you're in that show and you're killing everybody and that's very nice. But in this case, we're going to go more like mainstream. So you got to dial down whatever it is that you do there, and we're going to neuter you a bit. And
this time around, you got to do some giggling and some crying, okay? So you're not really going to be the Punisher anymore, but we're going to, change things anyway.
I never needed to see the Punisher cry in my entire life, except over his family. But I will say this. One of the parts I really liked about it is how everybody seemed to underestimate Frank Castle. He's like, you don't have this stuff here. And he's like, I got it. I got that stuff. Like,
that I did laugh out loud with that one, because I thought that was funny. But yes, when they do get to that scene, he's like, I got all the, you need a nano thing and whatever and all that stuff. He's like,
static mat and a voltmeter.
I got all that stuff. And then he's like, why? And then MJ's like, bombs? Like, duh. He's making explosives. Are you kidding me?
But you need a lot more stuff than that. I mean, you need circuitry.
Yeah. Do you have an anti-static mat? Like, what? Seriously? That's the thing you're missing out on. You could just use some wood. It doesn't have to be an anti-static mat. That was silly, but yes, the bit with MJ being like, just looking at him like, bombs. Like,
he would literally need a clean room and a microcircuit chip.
Oh yes, exactly. Like literally, you would have to have a clean room to make the kind of stuff he's talking about. But
but the thing is, and I just want to quickly say this comment, and we'll continue to rip apart stuff about the writing. Amidst all this stuff that's happening, I was thinking to myself, it reminds me of those Transformer movies, that some of them, I would watch them and the plot either was dumb or I didn't like the plot, but at least there were some robots fighting each other, and I kind of liked that. So I think this movie has one thing going for it, and this is the main thing. The visuals and the sets and the action at times looks pretty cool. And I think that as people that like these type of movies and this type of genre, there's enough that they made an effort here to not make it look crappy in parts, that I think that that's probably the parts that at least I liked more. It still kept me in the movie, even though I kept thinking, why is this character here? Why is that character here? I say you can call it a cheap thrill, but I still liked visually the choreography, the visuals, the cinematography, the angles. Like, I thought it looked pretty cool personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, Ian, you guys can refute what I'm saying if you don't feel that way, but I thought they looked pretty good, the scenes. Where is Ian?
Did everyone else disappear?
I don't know where Stephobos is or Ian is. I think that the second I said that,
yeah, I had to pop out. I was gonna say, New York actually had color, and I was thinking, thank God this movie isn't filmed behind a piss filter. It actually looked good, except for a couple obvious green screen effects. That
right,
really...
but it seems like the guy from 12 Years a Slave delivered. I don't know if you remember, because they're like, we brought the guy that did the coloring for 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
Oh no, like, that's your coloring? This is going to be awful. I guess 12 Years a Slave guy delivered. That's all I can say.
In this one, that's... Yeah, go ahead.
New York looked good, but it didn't feel real. And that's what I was getting at. Like, I know the word's overused, verisimilitude, but it just felt like all the things that you wouldn't find in New York, like the prison.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
It felt...
That's the reason why everything looks so dull.
No,
there's no sun.
It kind of felt like, this is New York, people are still like living on the street, but we have this Insta-scan DNA technology. Like, you can't really, those societies don't really go hand in hand. And so even though it's supposedly our world, they need to do a little better job at world building. That's exactly what happened in Superman. I'm like, you still have, everyone's still driving a regular car, but you have an office building that turns into a spaceship and you can make pocket universes. That just doesn't fly together.
Mm-hmm. Also, when you look at the other three, right, they have a structure to them, right? The first one, the second one was great with Mysterio, and the third one was, in my opinion, the best. I mean, it wasn't a great screenplay, but it was member berries, and it was welcome member berries, because we're all fans of Tobey Maguire. We're all fans of, well, Andrew Garfield's by the by, but it really made a great movie. But then when you watch this, it seems flabby. Even the credits in the last three, free is a magic number, and they have all that stuff. They created that kind of tone to it. In this one, the ending credits is just shots of New York or people wandering around.
Exactly.
And you're like, what? It's like, where's the style of the last three? You could have at least try and do something with the ending as well, with the credits, but they did nothing.
The word that describes this movie to me is shallow. Like, because of everything they had to cram in there, and it wasn't in there for very long, everything just felt surface level and shallow.
The reason why I think is because Feige left them alone. He left those last three films alone and let the people deal with it. I reckon he interfered big time in this one, because there is a story there, a better story than we got, what was presented to us. And it was too bloated. There was too much stuff that you could have just thrown out, and it wouldn't have mattered to the story,
You could have almost made this into two movies that they could have released back-to-back years. They could have included more of that action montage stuff that we wanted to see, ended it in MJ's apartment, and then a year later they could have told the story of Jean Grey. Like, man, they could have made, $3-4 billion on this stuff.
There was no need for, I reckon the Jean Grey story just got shoehorned in because it's got somehow connected to Secret Wars. That's what I reckon. There's no reason to have that character in there. I thought she was going to be the new MJ, which would have been weird because I said he's 13, she's 16, or how old is she? How old
Oh,
is
she's
she?
older than
36.
that. I think she's
Oh,
like,
Aren't you
okay.
like
she's like 20.
28?
Oh, is she 10 years older? Okay, might have worked. I don't know, but you know, I just thought it was going to be different. The trailer lied to us. It really did. I thought it was going to be more problems with this stuff that he was suffering from. The hand comes from Daredevil, obviously.
Oh,
It just doesn't make any sense. They're walking around free. They're
oh,
evil
she's
bastards.
24.
Yeah, she's 24, and Tom Holland.
30. He's 30. But yeah,
Yeah, he's
I just
30.
thought that Zendaya and Ned would be in it very little. You know, he'll see them
I mean,
around, but just I don't know.
they're not in it as much as they could have been. Yeah, so that, I mean, that actually, the next scene after the whole thing at Damage Control is him stalking Ned at the coffee shop where he's or at the bodega, I guess, where he's buying energy shots that he got hooked on while he was at MIT. That there's some verisimilitude for you.
But New York,
MIT guys getting hooked on energy shots. Yeah,
but
You're
New
not
York's
wrong.
New York's a big place. Why does he have to go to the places where Ned and Zendaya is?
Because
He could
he's
just choose
stalking them.
another no, but he shouldn't be, should he? He's not. You know, he's Spider-Man. Spider-Man should give up all that stuff. To,
But he
to be
can't.
strong, he has
Yeah.
to give it.
Yeah, because Mom Donnie caused all the other stores to close down. That's the only one left that's
all
still
the other bodegas shut down, so it's just this is just the only one left.
Also,
so yeah,
did they
he
use some effects on Marissa Tomei? Did they use some young effects on
I think they
Marissa
did, yeah, just a
Tomei?
little bit.
They looked a bit,
But-
weird.
They so yeah, he goes, he sees Ned, and then he finds out that there's like a housewarming party or something because they've graduated college at this point, and they've which that doesn't track at all. Ain't nobody getting out of MIT in 4 years. Not happening. But anyway, they graduate and they continue to live together. They have a new apartment, and they have like a housewarming party. So that's where he goes, and he sees Ned, and then he's got the Spider-Man stuff all over his wall, and it's like, oh, I'm not a crazy person. He just saved our lives a few times. But
Yeah.
you find out he's the one that invented this Spidey tracker app that's used for people to be able to say, oh, I spotted Spider-Man here or whatever, which is kind of amusing, but not all that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah,
But,
why does Ned still act like a 13-year-old even though he's just spent 4
because
years in college?
because he's a Zoomer, and none of them have grown
Oh,
up.
okay.
Remember, in the comics, he used to have the spider tracker, didn't he? Spider-Man. He used to throw the little tracker so that he can find
Yeah, he
villains.
had
When
the
he's
little
fighting,
spider. Yes, yeah, he
he
did.
used to
Yeah.
throw. They
Yeah.
should have that in it as well. I don't
Yeah.
understand why they don't. And his humor was missing on this one as well, because he used to tease a lot of people in the last three. And
There
in this
was a
one, his
little bit
humor
of
was
it in
missing.
there. It was definitely there in the opening montage.
Yeah.
There were some quips in there. He smashes Scorpion with the piano and says something about a sour note or something like that, or hits the wrong note, something like that. And there's a little bit of it in there, but no, most of this is way more emo and sad, and lonely than it is him being making jokes and cracking wise.
Where did he
about
get all
stuff.
the money from to make it?
God only knows.
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that. We
Yeah.
don't know where he got the money.
So I mean, we've been all over the place. So I'll just say it now. Like later on, he invents the inhibitor thing that inhibits DNA. And then he makes one that's like universal that can inhibit all of these different things. Okay, literally, he's invented a device that can prevent mutated DNA, altered DNA from propagating throughout the body.
$1 trillion easy.
He cured effing cancer. That is a $1 trillion invention. Okay? If you can inhibit DNA expression selectively, he has cured not only cancer, but a dozen or more other incredibly life-altering diseases.
Yeah, why would it
that
kill
device.
viruses? It should kill all viruses too. Like, Can I ask you about? We haven't talked about one thing. How did you guys feel about the score? I heard some notes of the old '90s show in there.
Yeah, it was.
But overall, I thought it was weak and flat.
So did I. So did I.
It was just
the score wasn't as strong as the last three.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah,
it was kind of just there for me. I didn't think about it really until you mentioned it now. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
it was workmanlike. I would say workmanlike. It was just there. It did its job. It didn't stand out, and it didn't. I honestly didn't even notice it most of the time.
Can I just say the reason why look, every time you watch a movie and the music doesn't stand out, it's because there's not things in the film to complement the music. I'll give you an example, right? In the last movie, when I noticed the music, I've noticed music all the way through because it had places to be. Like, for instance, you remember that bit where they were trying to look for Peter Parker, and then the original Peter Parker says, "Where's a place he can go to be alone?" And then they find him at the school. When you see him at the school, there's where the music swells. Do you know what I mean? Where you notice it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So in this film, because the script was so bloated and things were chucked in, whatever, the composer doesn't have anywhere to showcase the sequence.
Yeah, but maybe it's not completely his fault. For example, in Disclosure Day, you had Spielberg making a movie that was like dull, and John Williams, even at 90-something years old, if he really wanted to, he could cook up something, but there's really nothing to work with there. The movie is so awful.
My point.
That's
my point.
Yeah. There was no big fanfare to get behind to get your blood going. Now, did anybody else notice this? Somewhere in the middle of the movie, Spider-Man goes, "I have nowhere else to go." Like, you've been part of the Avengers. You've saved the world. You've saved the city. I guess, did they really, when they erased the memory of Peter Parker, did they erase all of the things Spider-Man did?
No, they didn't.
No, just Peter Parker.
I felt this was like the Falcon trying to get a loan, and the guy saying, "Oh, we don't know. You've been gone for 4 years."
Yeah, that's true. Didn't even think about that. You're right.
I mean, like just going back to the music, like, for instance, if you see Empire Strikes Back, there's that sequence in it where you see all the ships in space, and it's just showing you the beauty of the ships, and that's where you get the Imperial March. In Close Encounters, when Gillian and Roy sees the Devil's Tower for the first time, they come out the car, and they climb that mountain, the music's swelling, and then they see Devil's Tower, and then bum bum bum, and it's just like, you know, they don't have things like that in movies today. No. That's why it's so hard to distinguish.
Those are 40 years ago, and I still get goosebumps when I hear those fanfares.
We have to go back to that as filmmakers. We have to go back to that. Otherwise, films will just be just this non-plus thing, which kind of this Spider-Man is kind of, if you know what I mean. Sorry, it's filmmaker in me. I'm sorry.
I had in my notes, Spidey doesn't use AI, he uses AE, artificial expositioner. Because that's all his AI does is explain the audio. And when it opens, he's a little mopey, and I was thinking, okay, let him pine for MJ, but this has got to be the end. Like, I don't want to see a whole movie of him moping around being depressed. Also, it's been 4 years, for God's sake.
What happened to the bit where the mayor gives him the key? And as he's sitting there looking at the key, because, you know, the whole of New York loves him, but yet he's still lonely. That was in the trailer. None of that was in the film.
Oh, they did. That was in the montage. It was an opening montage.
Yeah, in the montage, but I thought we was going to see more.
Yeah. There's a bunch. I would say a good third of the trailer is from the opening montage. There's him flying through the air with the hand jumping up at him, from a water tower, all from the opening montage. There's him fighting somebody throwing razor boomerangs at him. I don't know what it is. That's only in the opening montage. There's the key to the city opening montage. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
The thing with the hand in the trailer is such a bait and switch, because when you see it, you're like, wow, I gotta fucking see this movie. And then you see it, and he's like crying about Zendaya.
Do they all work for damage control, or just those like 5 or 6 ninjas? Because the hand is a huge.
I didn't mention that when we were talking about when he goes to visit. He goes to visit them. whatever, Bill, right, at damage control, and he's like, the hand. Oh yeah, well they just they just needed someone to guide them in the right direction, and it's like, what?
That's when you knew Bill was evil, though, when he goes, you can look at a menace and think danger or opportunity. I'm like, this is bad, dude.
Yeah, it's bizarro that they like the I'm sorry, no. The hand, they're bodyguards now. All we needed to do was just teach them, give them a different purpose or something. That's off. That is awful.
Oh, but we have to admit, though, all of us, we are digging really deep. As I said, Normies doesn't see this stuff.
Oh no, they won't. No.
How could Spider-Man's bum stick to a girder? He's sitting upside down.
Oh no, he was holding on with his other hand. He was holding on with his other hand. Yeah.
This is the ultimate movie for normies, and I think that it's going to do very well. Normies are going to love this movie.
That's why I said safe. I have written in my notes here, small potatoes, bitch, you can't even get out of an elevator shaft by yourself. Screw you. I'm still, I know that might have been more a characterization of Yelena being delusional rather than a meta commentary on Spider-Man, but it still really bugged me.
No, she wasn't in the original screenplay. I can guarantee you they shoved her in there.
I agree. I don't even know if DeWolf or DeWitt
I think a lot of these things were shoved in, Ian. I think that I personally think that they had one screenplay and then they didn't know exactly what they were going to do with Doomsday and Secret Wars. And once Kevin Feige understood that, he just said, listen, we're reworking this movie. That's why at the end it feels like there's a movie and then there's another movie that are somehow attached to each other. But it has something to do, in my opinion, with Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars and Kevin Feige's master plan to try to create anything that will lead you to even watch those movies. You know what I'm saying?
That's why she's talking to him on the phone so much. Any scene where anybody's on the phone or on a screen, that was an add-on. So, because they didn't have to reshoot the whole section. They could just, it's like a ADR for, visuals. So all the times he's talking to her on her phone with the kids, that was an after.
That's an add-on. That's an add-on.
Yeah.
I just think it should have been Spider-Man versus the Scorpion, because I thought that looked really interesting. I want to know the origin of how it should have been in the film, how he got that costume, how he got stuck with that costume, why he's out there. That's what it should have been. And then Spider-Man in university meets a new love interest, and so on and so on. That's what it should have been. But it's been they had a decent script, I reckon, and it's been infiltrated by Feige. That's what I reckon.
And as somebody who's actually worked in a lab, if you had that power glove, but like shocker, you wouldn't have that at your desk.
They're just sitting there at a desk, turning it on, playing with it at a table.
Yeah, robot arms. It's like, you just, so again, that's the realism just sort of killed it for me. It's like, and also, are you really telling me that when they finally capture this dangerous Omega level mutant, they put her in a room that has an outside wall? So when that one wall busts through, it's all of New York? No, she would have been in the center of a building with absolute reinforcement all the way around. But, they blow out the wall behind her, and that's just New York. And that's how Frank got a shot. But that's not how prisons work.
No,
but this is the thing. When you write a screenplay, that's why they should go outside of their own group to see what other people think. But they never do that. They basically just keep it all in-house. They're all biased. They're all stupid. And this is what we've ended up with, a script that could have been a next Spider-Man film that could have been great if they'd hired the right people, if they just left it alone. But it's obvious they've infiltrated it. And now this is what we've got, a bloated, silly, enjoyable movie.
It's kind of like having the bridge on your starship on a little bump on the outside of the ship instead of
it's
buried
centered
deep in the reinforced
buried inside.
It's the only reason we had those is we need windows. Once you don't need those, you move
there's no
that
reason
to the most secure location in the
What happened? What about in when what's her name, Ned and Zendaya are sitting there watching TV, and there's that report about the Hulk? He's been sent to where has he been sent to to a
asylum.
secured facility.
Yeah.
Like they want to know why he snapped. They know why he snapped.
Yeah,
well,
it should
Spider-Man
be
could
obvious,
tell
but
him.
yeah.
Spider-Man could tell him. But why are they doing that to poor old Bruce Banner? The poor fella.
I don't know. But let's see. They were at not Tom Holland. They Spider-Man was at their party, and Tom Holland gets to see his wife make out with another guy. That was fun.
Yeah.
So the spider cuck. He's actually, the thing is, he's not into it. So he's rather angry and decides to leave and goes swinging through the rainy New York night, so we can't see his tears. And then he gets back to his spider cave, and then he starts having pain in his arms and black eyes and all sorts of stuff until he passes out and he wakes up in a cocoon. And we saw this in the trailer where he's all cocooned up and he falls out. And he, on his way down, he reflexively reaches to shoot his webs, even though he is not wearing his web shooters, and webs come out of his arm. He now has, his own biological web shooters, organic web shooters that come out. So that this is the scene that got actually audible laughs in the theater when I was there, which, by the way, I will say, for this movie, this is the biggest audience I have had in a theater with me.
Same here.
Of anything coming out this summer.
Same here.
It was, and I was at a 12:30 and noon showing, basically earliest showing of the day. It was packed. There were we were in the very back row because I thought we were going to have it to ourselves. We were sharing it with two other groups of people. There were only 2 seats out of the back row that were not full. It was a lot of people. Granted, it was a relatively small theater that we were in, but it was packed. And I would imagine that the other showings were pretty much the same.
Kids are off school now, aren't they? Kids are off school now.
It's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, this movie, I think, is absolutely gonna tear it up at the box office over the next couple of weeks. But
let me ask you, the normies will definitely like it, but are they going to love it? Is it going to blow them away, kind of like No Way Home did?
I can tell you, my brother loved it.
It's going to have the cultural, it's going to be the movie that people are going to see now. I think a lot of the attention that has been directed towards the Odyssey is just going to disappear. It's all going to be focused on this movie now.
Yeah.
This is the only thing people are going to be talking about. The Odyssey is going to be out of their minds. It's just going to be gone.
Yeah.
Unless they already bought tickets for some IMAX theater somewhere. But IMAX is going to see a massive drop this weekend because no one's going to bother seeing both.
Unless you have people that like Tom Holland and Zendaya, and then they go to the Odyssey and they're in that too.
They have been trying to organically sort of force this idea that there should be a Barbenheimer like thing where we go to see the Tom Holland Zendaya movies together, which is going to be a huge failure.
Spider-Man Brand New Odyssey, I just don't listen. I didn't hate the movie, and so it was just it's hard to bring myself to care as much as we're saying on it. It was a fine way to pass the time. Felt a little long, but the action scenes were really enjoyable. So I'm okay with this one succeeding. I'd much rather see this one do well than the Odyssey, which still pisses me off.
Same here.
Yeah, same, absolutely same. But this one, this was, like I said, this was the scene that actually got some laughs, audible laughs in the theater. There were some others that got some cackles and stuff you could hear, but this one got audible laughs where he has to climb in through the window into the basement, and he grabs some clothes, and they're women's clothes. They don't quite fit. He's in the elevator on the way up. He sees the same blonde who earlier tried to hit on him. who he ditched. She said, are you wearing is that my shirt? And he says, no.
We've seen that scene before, though.
I know, yeah, but he keeps hitting the button, and then when he gets out, it's her pants, and it says "juicy" across the ass. And,
By the way,
that got laughs.
That was Kiernan Shipka. That was one of the girls I suggested be Supergirl.
Yeah.
Is that character in the comics? Because I keep thinking about that character in Spider-Man 2, the blonde girl that fancied Peter.
The Russian one.
Yeah, the Russian one. Is that kind of character in the comics? The later comics? No.
She didn't really have a name. Like occasionally you'll see a girl go, "Oh, Peter," not really specifically, not like the son of a Russian landlord, the daughter of a Russian landlord that lives in his building, though. But she was pretty much that exact same character from Spider-Man 2. But like I said, you notice how tall she was compared to, she would have been a great Supergirl.
She was a looker. She was very attractive.
Also, do you remember that scene in it where Zendaya confronts Spider-Man with the letter? And there's two shots where it's from the side where they're both standing, and it's so obvious that Tom Holland was standing on an apple box.
Apple.
Yeah. There's one scene.
Much shorter than that.
Usually, even in the movies, he looks shorter than her. But there was that scene. That you're right. That it looked like he was standing on a box.
Yeah, he probably was.
I think it was only a half apple, though, not a full. They divide them up by that.
Without the pips. The apple without pips.
He gets back to his room, to his Spidey cave with his juicy pants. And he finds the whole room covered in webs. I was like, what? Like, to me, that was kind of silly, but he finds the whole room covered in webs and starts talking to his AI in his computer that's like, oh, you're experiencing all kinds of trauma and blah, 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 whatever. And isolation and trauma.
So
he tries using his other webs, his original webs, and he can't because for some reason his computer tells him biological webs and or organic webs and your web shooters are not compatible. Like, why?
yeah. Like, why wouldn't they just both shoot out at the same time?
Yeah, or put the web shooters on the other side of your wrist so they don't like bump into each other or something. Like it's stupid. It's just dumb. It's just dumb movie logic, but
By the way, somebody ran an AI analysis on hundreds of photos that determined Tom Holland's height barefoot to be 5'6", and Zendaya without shoes barefoot 5'9". So she's a good 3 inches taller than him, and it kind of looks it when you see the red carpet photos. I don't really care that sort of
Humphrey Bogart was really short, wasn't he? Humphrey Bogart was really short compared to
Robert Reynolds is crazy short. He was like maybe 5'4" on a good day. So, and we know Robert Redford and Ben Kingsley were both very short.
One of my closest friends growing up was 5'5", and he married a woman who is 5'11". It's quite hilarious to see the two because she's taller than me and he's well shorter than me, and it's very funny. I mean, they're amazing together. They're a great couple. They've been together forever, but it's quite funny to it's like there's a really short
over here,
and a tall woman.
They have this thing called the green room where a lot of big Hollywood stars go for drinks and stuff, just like a private club. And I happened to be there one day, and Tom Cruise was at the bar. So I had to go up and get drinks for my friends, and I was right next to him, and I was really surprised he was the same height as me.
Yeah.
So he is. I'm what 5'7". I think Tom's 5. He must be 5'7" because he was the same height as me. So yeah, I'm quite surprised. I thought he was a lot taller than that, but he wasn't.
And he would have been wearing lifts when he goes out as well. I think he's more like around 5'6", but I used to date a woman who was 6'3.5".
Nice.
That's a big chunk taller than me. But, it seems like these days, at least on social media, women are obsessed with how tall a guy Yes, and
Oh,
I
women
just
are
didn't.
obsessed with all sorts of idiotic things.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
stupid.
We didn't experience that growing up in my day. It was just not. It
Yeah.
was.
And there's also
Yeah,
a lot of extremely lonely women out there who can't understand why
yeah,
no man wants them.
yeah. Because it's only two. It was like 0.2% of all men are over 6'3", and he has to make $1 million a year, be 6'4", great. Like you've already eliminated pretty much everybody, and we haven't even gone through your list. Like,
Also,
Yeah.
on the side note as well, do you remember in the last film when Spider-Man was swinging with Zendaya, and it looked really realistic because they were, with one hand he was kind of like jumping
Yeah.
around and stuff. With this
Mhm.
version, when he was swinging with her, it just seemed wrong. It's like they just put him in front of a green screen and say, right, just
Well,
pretend
he
you're
was trying to
swinging.
get used to the webs coming out of his hands, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, he was supposed to be struggling this
No,
time
no. What I'm
around.
saying is he wasn't struggling in this film. In the last film, he was.
Oh.
They literally swung them in the last film.
oh,
They
yeah,
swung them in real life,
yeah,
and
on
then they put
wires.
stuff
Yeah,
on. Yeah, in this one, it
yeah,
just seemed like they were just standing next to the green
yeah.
screen because there was
Um,
no kind. It didn't look realistic, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's 2%, by the way, not 0.2. But when you add up all their little things on their list, there's like 5 dudes on the whole planet that would qualify.
Yeah, it's there. It's ridiculous. So let's see. What else was next along the plot here? Scorpion is out. He's attacking some people. So he goes. Spider-Man goes to stop him, but it's not Scorpion. It's actually Jean Grey that's possessing him, and but he loses his temper, flips out, his eyes turn black, and he flies off the
Throws him
handle, starts
into a car.
smashing her, smashing Scorpion, and ends up smashing into a cop car, injuring a cop, and
Yeah, but he'd be dead.
yeah,
Yeah,
Scorpion
didn't
would
he
be
flip?
dead.
Yeah, and didn't he
Scorpion
flip the
would be
car?
dead.
he would be.
Yeah,
He'd
yeah,
be dead because it's a human. He
Mhm.
hasn't got superpowers. It's that suit, unless the
Yeah,
suit
true.
protected him. But I mean, the way he smashed into that car, he'd be splattered all over the sidewalk. Do you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, you'd
I
think
hate
so.
when they do things like in comics. I hate
Yeah,
it. Ugh.
yeah.
yeah.
Look how many guys jump out of a 2-story window and roll and keep on running. Like a certain amount of that is always going to be. Jason Statham would be dead 300 times in every one of his movies if you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you have to have
ridiculous.
a little bit of disbelief. Yeah.
So after that scene, he's very, very concerned, and he wants to try and figure out what's going on with him. So he goes to the only man who knows anything about genetic alterations or inhibiting whatever. He goes to Mark Ruffalo, who is
Yeah,
he goes to Bruce Banner, who is teaching at Empire State University, and goes to talk to him about this inhibitor that he's now wearing that allows him to control his transformation into the Hulk.
Yeah, he's teaching regular physics too. Like
yeah.
that, they wouldn't waste a guy like him. He would be on graduate level seminars and stuff.
Exactly. Well, and also the class apparently regularly just collapses into stupid arguments about Avengers and a dumbass in the back of the room who yells Hulk smash.
Yeah, he
So
was
dumb.
green, right?
Yeah.
Like the guy was actually wears green makeup to class.
Yes, it's so dumb. And yeah, why wouldn't he just make more? I think that was probably somebody wrote that in, like Feige wanted to write that in to own the chuds or something, right? To be like, oh, see, like we're making fun of the idiots who were like, well, why wouldn't Thanos just wish for more food?
Yeah, they didn't answer that question. By the way,
No, they didn't. Of course he didn't, because the answer is, I don't know why that would have made sense, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean, there were lots of other ways that you could have solved population crises throughout the galaxy besides just wiping out half of everybody. The whole wiping out people, killing people thing goes back to the comic books with Thanos, and that he was trying to court Lady Death. He was killing people because he wanted to impress a personification of death.
But
not because he was trying to solve overpopulation and world hunger.
Yeah, but have you seen what Lady Death looks like? Totally worth it.
Yeah, totally.
I'd be right in up and
yeah, and it's even in the MCU. Yeah, let's see. But yeah, he goes through the whole thing and arguing, talking to him about being able to, reverse expression of certain genes and stuff like that and whatever. And then they move on, and then that's when we have the whole thing with he gets called out by just some dude on the street, and it's Jean Grey trying to contact him, which I will say that this particular scene is when I think the whole idea behind the Jean Grey, and we learn this rule that she can only connect to somebody within 33 feet, whatever, but then so we have this whole thing. He runs to, she gets into his head. She knows about his place. She knows about MJ. She's good. So she's in his house, in his in his apartment, the Spidey cave, whatever. And then they have this race to try to get to MJ. And then he does get to her. He manages to stop her because he learns about the 33-foot rule or whatever. He goes and gets MJ, and then he's going to take her somewhere and keep her safe. So he goes out, and then he takes her to the top of a building where they're talking. But then Jean Grey takes control of her. Mm. Where is she? Where is Jean Grey?
That's what I'm saying. The script doesn't make any sense.
If she's within,
some bits don't make any sense.
If she's within 33 feet, she can't be in a car at the bottom of a 7-story building.
No, she'd be on the roof.
She would have to be on the roof with them.
Yeah.
But she's not. Because we see her 2 seconds later after they fall off the building, she's on the ground in a car that just drove up. So the whole, it doesn't, and there's no other people around besides Jean who she could have transferred from, jumped from, whatever. So that whole thing where she takes control of MJ doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
That's the best thing you've said. You know what I thought to myself? I thought that when he came to Zendaya's window and asked her to come with him, she was already Jean then. But even if that were true, I don't know how she got away, like you said.
Well, Jean can float, in the movies. Jean Grey can float when she got more powerful. I don't know whether she was floating, then float back to
I don't think she was there at this point.
She was floating.
Yeah, exactly.
She wasn't there yet, but she, so. But yeah, she's able to take over MJ and hold her, Peter. Some people would give their life to have one more chance to be with their loved ones, whatever.
And then,
she killed the helicopter pilot because she probably jumped out of the.
She couldn't transfer from the pilot to somebody else, but she could break her contact with the pilot. And then just choose someone over. And then just start over.
But that doesn't really make sense either. If her mind is still like miles away, she can only jump 33 feet at a time. Right. But there must be a limit to how far she can be, from wherever she's going.
You would think so, yes.
But this is and then writing, isn't it? I mean, they're on the roof, and then she gets taken over, but she can't get taken over. It should have been because this happens. Because this
I will say this.
It's just terrible.
The pilot guy could have been rescued, and the second he's rescued, she jumps into whoever rescued him. Let's just say that could happen. But
but it was a time frame that made it unlikely.
Yeah, and the distance rule as to how somebody was able to get to, within 33 feet of her when there's no one around. And it's weird. And how would she have known what roof he was going to swing to land on the thing? I think the only thing that does make sense, Price, is that, like you said, she was already possessed somehow. She was when he got there, Jean had already gotten to MJ, and she was already possessed. But I didn't think there was really any evidence of that, though, because the way she's acting is very clearly like
Zendaya
MJ.
went along with him. So maybe the reason Zendaya goes along with him is because Sadie's saying, that's what I was thinking when I was watching the movie.
She said 1 minute she was on her couch and the next minute on the roof. So she was definitely possessed at her apartment.
Oh, okay.
But then how
Maybe.
did Sadie Sink leave her body?
I don't think she
Exactly.
did. I think she was in it the whole time.
But that means she had to be 30 feet away from them all at all times.
No,
but he was
but
swinging
once
through the city.
where did
How
she
could
go
she achieve
once
that?
once Zendaya like jumped off the construction thing and you had to save
Yeah.
her? Where
Yeah.
did Jean Grey go then?
I don't know.
Maybe she just left.
She just went back to herself. She was controlling the driver of the car.
Mm.
Because the driver is the one that gets out and is talking to him when Peter's like, okay, I'll stop chasing you. I'll stop whatever, please. Just don't hurt her. And he hands him the letter. He hands the letter that he wrote that was hidden in the coffee cup. And,
Christ, don't ask
that's
questions. Just get excited for next product.
That's when he manages with his Spidey picture, eyes or whatever, to catch a picture of her in the car and they're able to figure out it's Jean Grey. But he decides to take her. He wants her to stay safe. He needs to take her somewhere where she's going to be isolated. So he takes her to Frank, takes her to the Punisher to be protected. But the good news, Punisher's made chili.
Honestly, it shouldn't even. Punisher should not be in this film at all. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And if this was the 70s comics, when he saw her in that cab, he would have flicked a spider tracer onto the car, and then he would have known where she was going.
Sure,
that's the 70s costumes, 70s comics. But in this one, it's like what his mask tells you where it's going, like Iron Man.
It gets a picture. It gets a picture of her,
like
and then
what?
he uses AI to scan all the camera. Because New York City is absolutely littered with security cameras and flock cameras and stuff.
I can believe that part, actually.
No, it is. I'm not joking. I know that it is. Yeah.
Their security would be so bad anybody could hack into this.
Yeah. So he's hacked into all the cameras and he can use AI to trace her from place to place. And then they go to visit Frank and that's where
and he tries to kill him.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of he has a bunch of traps, right? He has, as he would, right? He has a bunch of traps, but for some reasons he doesn't sense them.
No,
and keep from tripping over them. He keeps tripping all the different all the traps. I did like the bit where he tells them to watch the claymores. I don't want to be picking up bits of you for the next week.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, they could explain some of that by all the hormonal changes.
And I think I think
they have to do that.
Yeah, I think that is part of this movie that can't be overlooked. Right? Is that like they're trying to say that some of the mistakes that he's making, some of the things that he's doing, are because he's hormonal. because he's going through this transformation, so his senses aren't working the way that he expects them to, and
he's transitioning
and all that. Yes, he is. He's
if we had a single superhero movie where they haven't been at least depowered for part of the time,
because the writers don't understand how to, because the truth is that Spider-Man, where we see him like smashing the living hell out of Scorpion and stuff like that, that's actually his strength. Like he honestly we do see him fighting with Hulk. That's basically the next scene. We find out that that there's something going down in this other damage control center place after he drops her off.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Roll back slightly. When Zendaya falls off the roof, wasn't that a homage to when
Stacy
died? When Stacy died,
possibly, yeah.
I think it might have been. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
no, yeah. So they go to Frank's place. That's where he's working on trying to fix his inhibitor thingy, and she's able to help out because she's also a super genius.
Yeah, aerospace
biosciences engineer, whatever, and helps. Oh, he didn't think about the magnetic field made by his eyepieces or something. So he's able to, like punch in a few lines of code to to fix this issue somehow, even though that sounds like something that would require physical design, but whatever. Then we hear about the Hulk is being, is attacking the damage control, and he realized he's got a universal version that he was going to use of the inhibitor that he was going to use on Jean Grey, but he would be able to use that potentially on the Hulk. So he has that with him. They go and they fight the Hulk, which, I mean, by the way, some people complain that, he's tanking punches from Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, but he's Spider-Man. He's wildly powerful.
No, that doesn't make any sense. In the comics, the Hulk would have just creamed him. Spider-Man is not as strong as the Hulk. If the Hulk threw a punch, Spider-Man would be dead. It says that in the comics as well.
Yeah.
So
in the movie, when he kept that fairy together, that would have required 3 million pounds of force per each arm. That so I mean, Spider-Man is ridiculously strong, but I don't see him tanking.
I think he could take a punch from Hulk and survive. He would not be doing it multiple times.
Yeah. Wasn't that half Hulk too? That wasn't,
and it wasn't, and exactly, yeah. He was not fully Hulk. He was like the Professor Hulk version, whatever. He was being sort of controlled by Jean Grey, but later he does transform into full-on Hulk. And
also, Professor Artu. So is it? So he goes, I didn't know you can grow that. Didn't know you can be that tall. Does that mean to say when he's Professor Hulk, he's shorter than the Savage Hulk?
Oh yeah, he's a lot smaller. Yeah,
he's smaller.
All right, all right. Did not know
so
that.
We do have some. In fact, I've just realized we had some super chats. Price. Do you want me to just pull them up?
Yeah, let's pull them up.
Yep, I'll bring them up here. Dutch Gradient has sent us some gifts here, so let me. And one of them pertains directly to what we're discussing. So
Dutch is a friend of the channel,
and Price just wandered off the screen. Let's see. We'll share here. So we got the first one here. It's $5 from Dutch Gradient. Thank you. She was not controlling Hulk. She was controlling Professor Hulk and having trouble with that. Yes, she was not controlling the Hulk. She was controlling Bruce Banner, who was, some of his Hulk powers, like the Professor Hulk version, where it's kind of like half and half, was coming out. Once he's transforming into the full-on Savage Hulk, no, she is not able to control his mind at that point. And you can see you can see her like grabbing her head. She's in pain, like she can't. And I think part of that is, I think also they were implying that that Bruce Banner also himself has some mental control, that he's built up in trying to contain the Hulk, that is actually making it difficult for her to control his mind.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they showed how much trouble she was having, because I was worried it would just be, oh, no problem. It's just Hulk.
See, this one goes in later on talking about Jean wasn't Omega until they worked her into it by forcing her to jump. As far as they knew, all she could do was jump. Yeah, they do. Later on with Jean, they sort of force her hand in trying. Which I don't know how you do that. How do you? I mean, it's not like it's a muscle. You can just use an electrical charge to force it to contract. Right? This not. I'm going to force your brain to do this one specific thing, but whatever. They do. They sort of force her to sort of evolve past her limitations.
And
later on,
if she was smart when they were experimenting on her, she should have done nothing. She shouldn't have cooperated at all. She just sat there. But they said, "Oh, try to jump," and she kept trying, which to me strikes me as unnecessarily. Well, I think
she didn't. They had some program.
Some
way to stimulate her into forcing her to.
Oh, I thought they were just measuring what she was doing. Okay,
no. They were able to somehow trigger her to do the attempt to telepathically jump to someone else.
Oh, that's what they said. You can thank your sister for this neat little toy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so still magic bullshit, but okay.
And then we got another $2 chat from Dutch. Who says Jean had a driver. He got her there in time.
Yeah, not in New York City. He didn't. Also, the lack of traffic. I've never seen New York.
Well, That's because it's not New York.
Yeah, it's Scotland.
Yep.
Scotland.
So there's the battle with the Hulk. Honestly, this is, again, I think the whole stuff with Banner and the stuff with the Hulk, the whole movie, it could have been gone from the movie. Nothing would have changed. The consequences of the film would not have changed. The course of the film would not have changed. He could have figured out the DNA, stuff on his own. He didn't need, him there to do that. Hell, apparently MJ could have helped him figure it out, since she's a super genius as well. But the whole thing with Hulk is dumb. Frank decides to follow because when he's talking to MJ, she's like, "You're just going to let him go off on his own?"
Yeah,
whatever.
that was stupid.
And so he decides to follow.
Why?
Spider? Yeah, exactly. The lone wolf that is Punisher. Yeah, he's got to go follow Spidey. And they bring up the whole Staten Island thing again, which is like...
Which, again, it would have been nice if they'd actually shown it and not just used this dumb gimmick.
Yeah,
what movie was that in? I never even remember the scene.
It wasn't. It wasn't in anything.
It happened off screen.
It's just like the Budapest joke that ran repeatedly between Hawkeye and Scarlet.
Right,
Scarlet.
but as I said before you guys arrived, is that the Budapest thing worked because they were in New York City talking about something that happened in Budapest, so it's kind of quirky that they're mentioning it. But here, they're all in New York City, so this isn't something you're mentioning that's in another country, halfway across the world. You're mentioning something that happened literally close to where you're at now. And if you're already going to do that, and I said this, why didn't they open the movie instead of him craving Zendaya or whatever it is? You start the movie with a scene with the Punisher actually killing people, doing stuff, destroying things, and then he gets into some trouble and Spider-Man saves him. That would be such an amazing opening, no pun intended, for the movie.
Or at the very least, they could have told us it could have been made a joke. They could have done something funny about this thing with like he's holding it over him that he saved his life in Staten Island. You find out that he saved his life by by telling him not to get lettuce on his taco at Taco Bell. Or something, right? That would have been amusing at the very least.
But it wouldn't have worked, because if Spider-Man saw Punisher killing people, which is what he does, Spider-Man would be forced to actually take him into justice, because that's the pledge he made to his uncle. So it makes no sense that he could team up with the Punisher. Even in the comics, when he teamed with Punisher got away. Spider-Man would have actually webbed him up and taken him to the police, and I think he did it once at one. I thought, was it Daredevil? I can't remember, but he wouldn't have let him go, because that just goes all against what Spider-Man stands for.
Yeah, so except he doesn't have an uncle that he made a promise to in this universe.
Yeah, you know what I mean. What's her name? The auntie. But also the fact that in the Avengers, right, we start off with Black Widow and Hawkeye. Initially, when it starts off, they're friends. You can tell they're friends. But in this one, we didn't know they were friends. We didn't even know they met. And suddenly they know each other. So it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense to me. Anyway, carry on.
No, it's fine. So there's the whole thing with the Hulk, and then her trying to get Jean Grey trying to get to whatever is inside this safe inside damage control, which amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's just a room. Yeah. They're just in a room. I don't understand, but it wasn't even like the secret room where they kept her sister. It was just a room with a big door.
It would have made more sense for Daredevil to be the team up instead of Punisher, since
that would have been good.
Yes, especially if the Hand was involved in some way. But
I don't even mind if they brought like Daredevil and Punisher in some capacity, include him, or maybe at a point where both Daredevil and Spider-Man don't really appreciate the antics of of how he's freely killing people, but perhaps they reach a point at the end where there's no choice and he has to team up with them because they're all out of other options. Maybe that could be interesting, but what they did here wasn't right. I would have liked to have seen Daredevil, Punisher, Spider-Man, Scorpion were things that I would have kept. All the rest I would have gotten rid of.
Agree.
So they managed to capture her Because well, by the way, yeah, why? I mean, the whole thing with Frank shows up and they're like, oh, so you're fighting the Hulk. What does he do? He keeps firing guns at him, even though he knows that every last bullet that he fires is completely wasted because it's not going to hurt the Hulk. But yet he keeps firing at the Hulk for some reason. It's so dumb. Then they decide, oh, well, Spidey, you should fight the Hulk, and I'm going to go after Jean Grey. And he says, oh, yeah, make sure you don't get within 33 feet. And then 2 seconds, he turns around. There she is. She takes control of him. Like,
yeah, because he's dumb. That's why.
He's dumb.
He's dumb.
He's quite dumb. Spidey goes up against the Hulk, and he's about to get pummeled into jelly, but then he says, Banner, don't. It's me, Peter. And he stops. Peter is nobody to him. He would not remember Peter. Someone said, well, he remembers him from earlier when he talked to him about the DNA stuff. But he didn't say his name was Peter. He told him his name was Ned.
Absolutely.
So him telling it, stop, it's me, Peter, we're friends, would do nothing. It's just idiotic. There's no connection there.
Because the Hulk was shoehorned into this story.
Yeah.
That's why all these things, you're pointing out doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You shoehorned in and they didn't think about it properly, how it would connect with the rest of the story. So I'm totally convinced now that's what's happening to the screenplay.
And I mean, it would have been it would have been okay had he just said, please, if he's like,
bus, sister.
What?
Are you next to a bus?
No, is that me?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's your air conditioning thing.
Yeah, they hear the AC. But even if he had just just pleaded with Bruce to stop, that would have been better than him. Oh, it's me, Peter, because that doesn't make. He wouldn't know who the hell Peter is. That makes no sense. So anyway,
we have some super chats from Dutch Gradient.
I think we got them.
Did we go over them?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes.
You're getting tired, mate.
We talked about them.
Tired.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. I thought they were new ones. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dutch Gradient, for the super chat.
Yeah. Thank you, Dutch. Let's see. So they managed to capture Jean, and he takes her off. And they put a chip in her head. I'm just kidding. I'm messing. No, they.
I just want to answer Dutch Gradient here. He's saying, the critics dissing this movie are nitpicking and refusing to pay attention to what the movie actually shows. The thing is this. I said it. I didn't hate watching this movie. It wasn't the worst movie I've seen. It wasn't the worst Spider-Man movie I've seen. But at the same time, it also wasn't like a 10 out of 10 movie for me. It's not the best movie I've seen. It's not the best Spider-Man movie. It's not even the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, who himself is inferior to Tobey Maguire movies. But I'm just saying it was somewhere, at least in my opinion, somewhere in the middle. It's like, it's good enough as a popcorn movie to watch if you don't think too much about it. And I'm sure most people, a lot of, people that don't dwell on things the way we do, they'll probably enjoy it. It's going to make a ton of money. And even in my video criticizing it, I said it's sure to please crowds. And even there were certain aspects of it that I liked. But again, I just don't think it's the perfect movie. And that's what I think that we're talking about here, especially that there's a feeling of a missed opportunity. It could have been a fantastic movie, and instead it's just kind of a decent movie.
Yeah, it's okay. The movie's all
okay.
Right. It's not great. Yeah,
it's not great. It's a decent movie. That's the way I see it. But it's not like it stops short of even being like good because of what a mess the screenplay is. but because there's a lot of like, fun moments that kind of remind you of the comics, and there's some stuff that's visually nice to look at and certain scenes that are cool, you kind of let it slide. I feel like this is the second time that's happened to me recently, because also the Odyssey wasn't necessarily a good movie, but there were enough things in it that I'm like, I kind of like this scene, I kind of like this, I kind of like that, and I was still able to watch it. So I don't know. I guess in both of these movies, they didn't like completely win me over, but I was still able to watch them. I know Ista probably like Odyssey you hated. You weren't even able to.
Oh, no, that's the thing. As sort of like, let's just say it was the story of, Tumultuous and his journey, King of the Vikings. It was okay. It just felt really by the numbers, checking each like thing Odysseus is known to do without really connecting them well. And it was definitely an insult to the real character of Odysseus. But as a generic, sword and sandals movie, it was okay. A little long, and the soundtrack just
so sometimes things could be like just okay, and I think that's the category in which these things are falling. So it's perfectly fine if you really like the movie, Dutch. If you liked it more than we did, it's fine. But I think that we all have this kind of feeling, and I think if we're honest, that's what the movie is. It has its moment. It has some cool things going on in it. It's a decent popcorn movie. It's okay. But I also don't think it's the best thing that ever happened, and it's fair. It's going to make a ton. It's going to make so much money. They're going to say it's the best thing ever. I don't think it's the best thing ever.
Oh, and when you shoot that many bullets at an impenetrable object, you get a thing called ricochet, which are bound to hit Spider-Man at some point. Like, that's not really the preferred way of distracting the Hulk. He could have used his agility, speed, and webs to do it. Oh, that's Spider-Man. But every time Punisher shoots the Hulk, that bullet's going somewhere else. And that's not safe.
I think the reason why people like, normies could like this film is because the familiarity, sorry, I'm pronouncing that word wrong, of the other movies. And so they're familiar with Zendaya and Tom Holland and stuff like that. And they like those movies. So when they're in this film, you could be carried away by their characters and who they are and what there is. So that's the top surface, and all they see is the top surface, but they don't see how bad the screenplay is. So there are a lot of films like that. You can just accept it for the way it is.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. So people are going to like it.
And let's not pretend this wasn't like exposition heavy with some pretty sort of heavy-handed delivery of the themes. This was not a subtle movie.
And it was overly emotional. There's a lot of that in there. I honestly, like the very next scene, right, is as we were talking through it, is MJ finding Peter's notes, and is saying basically like, well, I don't know who this girl is, and I can't love you like that. Like, were you ever going to tell me? There's a big long scene where that drags out.
This is the part that I started hearing Ian in my head when this scene happened with Zendaya, because I thought to myself, this was all some weird like cucking setup, because it's like she finds the note and she's like, you didn't want to let me make my own decision, almost like a callback to Spider-Man 2. Where she's like, don't I get to decide who I marry, or whatever it is that happens there at the end of 2. I felt like they were going for that. But the twist was, instead of saying, oh, I needed to know so I can make my own decision, once she knows, her decision is like, fuck you, buddy. It's like, then why did we even do this whole scene? Why were you emotional reading the letter? Why do we even give a shit? If you just wanted to tell him that you don't love him, you could have done nothing. You could have said nothing about the letter. If you don't love him, what's the right play to do? You do nothing. You say nothing, and you go on your way, and you pretend that everything's great, and you never talk to the guy again, and you're just like, okay, I got rid of him.
Well, what is it? And then this happens. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's very end then. You nailed it.
You do feel it, yeah. Let's see. After that, we find out about Sarah. And that's when we learn all about her having lost a sister, that Jean Grey had a sister who was captured before. And then we're introduced to this torture device prison thing that they've got Jean in. And we also find out pretty quickly that, in fact...
I have a problem with that scene, Professor, because why weren't they monitoring them? What, they just turned up and took her sister? I mean,
Well, and then
usually when you
apparently
do things, like that, you follow them around, you monitor them, and then you'll realize that they're both sisters, and you would have snatched both of them.
it does seem
But
a
they
little
just
silly.
turned up. Yeah, they just
that,
turned up,
that
and
they just take the one, and that's what damage control does now. That instead of cleaning up after disasters, they're randomly extrajudicially capturing superpowered people on the street.
A little icy. A little. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe the fact that they were in an ice cream truck means that they were ice. Fuck. I just thought of it now. That's what they meant.
That's it. Yeah, they meant that's exactly
they
what
did
they
it.
meant.
They managed to pull a fast one on me. They were the ice cream truck.
Like the government didn't learn its lesson with SHIELD, and they're basically doing the same thing over again. I can believe that, actually.
I mean, listen, it's very, very underneath the surface and subtle if the ice cream truck is supposed to represent ice, but now that I thought of it, I can't unthink of it.
Let's see. So they start torturing her. Somehow they can trigger her to telepathically try to connect to someone else. That seems real sketch, and I know that they sort of set it up that they did a bunch of experiments on her sister, and that's how they know to do it, but I'm sorry, that's really sketchy. Like, I can force you in your mind to do some really complex task. Like, that's awkward. That's weird. This is when we find out what VMAX means. She's being tortured over and over. She looks up while she's being tortured, and she sees Ventmax written on the vent on the ceiling, and that's when she realizes that yes, this is where her sister, that signal that she sent out to tell her whatever, that was the moment that she died. And Bill lets her know that yes, her sister is dead. Not in so few words, but he does say it. This is when Spidey goes after, or actually, I did skip one scene. There was he decides to take MJ home because she doesn't have her phone with her. She doesn't have a car, so he takes MJ home and hangs out with Ned for a little bit, and they build Legos together. I thought it was kind of charming, just because it connected back to the first film. That was a thing that they did together, was they built Legos and talked Star Wars and stuff. So it was kind of a silly scene. At the same time, it did connect back to the earlier films. So I was okay with it. It was fine.
They shouldn't even been there. They should have just been.
They should have moved on from those characters. Yeah, they should have moved on from those characters and started something new for him. But he decides to go and help because he realizes that after talking to MJ that the guy lied about it, and then he learns about Sarah. So he figures out now she's basically been captured and she's being held and potentially even tortured by the damage control people.
This is where the second movie starts. If you're looking at it like that.
So then he goes to damage control to help. Honestly, I thought this was the best action scene in the film. There's some silliness at the beginning where he's like, "Do you guys stretch?" She's really stretched. He's like, I'm not in high school anymore, but then really solidly shot action scenes here. Not just the start when he's getting into damage control, but after he gets into damage control, he has to face the Hand, who are now being controlled by Jean because she's been pushed too far. They've done this little whatever, trying to trigger her brain over and over and over again, and it's caused her to sort of push through her barriers and start evolving her powers. And now she's a massively powerful telekinetic as well as being telepathic, and is able to move things and blow out walls and hold people in place for kilometers.
When Spider-Man realized that she was being used, or she's captured, whatever, I thought, Spider-Man's going to rescue her. That'd be something new in these MCU films because a male's going to rescue a female.
No.
But then that didn't happen, did it? That didn't
No,
happen.
she can only save herself.
In fact, she knew he came back to help her because he made a mistake, and she's still trying to kill him. Like, this woman is evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
She still wouldn't trust him, even though he told her straight up, like, I realized what happened. I know about your sister. I'm here to help you. No. And so then they have the fight with the hand, which that was another line that actually got an audible laugh in the theater. Was the hand is sort of leaping at him, and they're all coordinated and everything, and he's like, God, so cool. Like the way they're all sort of, teaming up on him at the same time. That a lot of people laughed at that one, but it's a really solidly done scene. There's the whole theme of him sort of just embracing who he is. He loses his web shooters. He realizes that he's going to be defeated and he has to lose the inhibitor. And so he just embraces his new transformation and is able to move forward and fight everybody off.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been better if they showed a little bit of time passing between Sadie Sink's arrest and him hanging out with Ned and Zendaya?
Yeah, if it's been, there should have been a few days.
Yeah, maybe a week or two. And they could have had a little montage of him getting back to normal and trying to be friends with those two. I did like the way he and
just
Ned,
something with some time passing and something happening with him not realizing just like an hour later that he did, and so all of the torture that they've been putting her through is just happened in the last hour and a half.
I did like the way he and Ned settled back into their easygoing friendship with the Legos, and that was kind of in the Lord of the Rings quotes. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with that particular scene. I thought it was all right.
Unnecessary, shouldn't be in the script.
I understand.
At all.
I'm not going to fight you on that one. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, having been in the film as it was, I thought that scene, I did not have a problem.
Yeah,
with,
I would have preferred Mary Jane and Harry too.
Yes.
I thought they had a much more realistic relationship, but they're there, so they might as well do something. And I didn't mind what they did.
So so then Peter gets in, fights all the handoff. He manages to get into the room with Jean, and that's when he lets her into his head so that she can talk to Aunt May, which was weird. On one end, I get it. I understand, because we do learn that, as I kind of said earlier, she didn't not have a loving mother, right? Her mother abandoned her and her sister because of their powers and whatever. And so she doesn't have that relationship. She doesn't have that support. And so him kind of letting her have a chance to see that and to hear what Aunt May had to say, I get that. Her replacing Peter was a little awkward. Yeah, it was a little strange, right? And as you said, maybe a metaphor for her just replacing Peter as the center of the movie anyway. But I get where they were trying to go with that particular, she did not have an Aunt May to give her that advice, right? She did not have an Aunt May to actually help her in that way. So he was trying to give her that.
Are you convinced
gift.
Are you convinced that that was what they were trying to do? Because there's loads of explanations for loads of different things in this film. I reckon what they were trying to do was trying to bait and switch, and they were trying to take the story away from Peter and put it onto her. And a lot of people say that the reason why you got the inhibitor on the Incredible Hulk is the whole metaphor was about being who you are and not pretending to be someone else. That's why Peter had to accept his powers. It was a reflection of the Hulk, that kind of thing. I don't know if, do you reckon that's true? Or do you reckon that's just a theory? I don't know, because to me, it's just a lackluster movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of it that deeply, if you know what I mean.
Well, he was never really trying to be something that he wasn't in the first place. He was just trying to balance out, his responsibility in his life. And That's a pretty heavy-handed way. I mean, sure, you can read it that way, but it doesn't change the shallowness of this film.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
And while she's learning her lesson inside Peter's head, Frank is setting up outside of this zone of control that she has so that he can do what he does, which is shoot things.
Yeah.
And in this case, her, because she's physically harming thousands and thousands of people in New York, and so he's going to end the threat. And so he sets up, has a 50 caliber anti-material sniper rifle, which honestly is the only one that's going to reach that distance anyway, of any chance at all. But and an amazing, zoomy scope that can get him all the way over there. But yeah, he shoots Peter. Of course, he's embraced his new higher level of spider powers or whatever, and he, even inside, with Jean, hears, feels with spidey senses that there's a bullet coming, and instead of dodging, which we've seen just moments before when he was dodging shurikens and knife blades and swords and all of this stuff, instead of simply moving out of the way, chooses instead to move in front of the bullet.
Yeah, it would have been faster to push her both way out of the way or drop to the ground.
Away. Yes,
so contrived.
Push her back.
Yes.
And push away so that they both would have moved away from where the bullet was. But instead, decides to grab her and get in the way of a 50 caliber bullet that would have not only torn a gigantic hole in him, but also through her, because this is a 50 caliber round from a sniper rifle. It would not have just gone into his back and then he, would have saved her life. Like, they both would have been severely injured, if not totally dead.
I've got to admit that I made that mistake in Rebecca Gold, didn't I, Esther?
Yeah, but you weren't using a 50 caliber round.
Yeah, it wasn't a 50 caliber round.
Yeah, that can go through an engine block. A 9mm round will likely get stuck in the body.
This is the difference between, if it were just a regular old rifle round, or if it were a 9mm or something, it could hit you and not leave your body. Like you could potentially be a protect someone from that bullet with your own body. This is an anti-material rifle. This could go through the armor of a tank.
Yeah, that's what they're designed for.
That's what they're designed for.
Yeah,
that's why it's called anti-material. It's not actually meant for people. It's meant to, like you said, punch holes in engine blocks and tear holes through the sides of tank armor. It's going to obliterate a human. It's not going to be pretty, and it's not just going to stop with one person. It's going to keep tearing through 3 or 4 people.
Well, Punisher was right, wasn't Punisher was right all along.
Yes,
he wanted to kill her. Should have killed her.
Right, we should have. But I just want to say we have a super chat where Dutch Gradient said it's getting cut off, so let me read it here. And if he'd left Ned and MJ behind, you'd have complained about that.
No, we wouldn't.
I don't think so. I don't know. In what sense? What do you mean? If you would have left them behind? If, let's say, this movie started and we never saw Ned and MJ, I don't have an issue with that. Yeah. I think that would have improved the movie.
He left them behind in the last movie. He left them behind in No Way Home. They forgot who he was because of the spell. And when he had the opportunity to reintroduce himself and try to reconnect with them, he chose to leave them behind because he knew that they would be safer not having a connection to him. He made that choice.
And so he already all of a sudden.
But then he's like stalking them.
Them. Yeah.
I don't
Makes
know.
no sense.
You should have seen my tears when I found out Zendaya was going to be in this movie. I was hoping beyond hope at the end of the last movie that now we can go into regular Spider-Man instead of this Tony Stark tech Spider-Boy movies that we've been seeing.
We could move on and we could start telling a new Spider-Man story instead of going back to the old one. But so he takes the bullet and then he has to be hauled off to the hospital. Somehow, she's able to keep him alive using telekinesis,
magic
telepathy.
voodoo shit.
I didn't understand that. She breathes instead of him.
I liked the way that Frank referred to it as magic voodoo shit.
Voodoo
I
shit.
thought I was like, yep, that's all, because
that
that's
was
all
good,
it
yeah.
is. That's all it is. It's the only way, because you can't really explain it. So they get into the hospital. He takes Spidey in there, but he wakes up and he's in the hospital. He's got all sorts of lovely gifts and things from people, and there's been hundreds of people waiting outside the hospital for Spidey to be safe.
I thought it was actually. I thought all the little kid drawn cards, that was cute. I didn't mind that.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting him into the hospital and them not taking the mask off. It's ridiculous. It was the same thing. Even though I love Spider-Man 2, Raimi's Spider-Man 2, it was the same thing in the train, where you wouldn't think that anyone would take a picture of Peter Parker without his mask. You think that no one would say that he's a kid. No one to the press. It's ridiculous. But anyway,
I just want to address this. Marla Shandoff says, if only ads would stop playing during the live stream. And Enemin says, yeah, way too many ads. Price is rich now. So let me tell you something. I don't get rich. I do not get rich off of these ads. I sometimes after I look at a stream like this, forget about not the super chats and things like that, but I look from the quote unquote from the ad revenue. It's usually like $1. But the thing is that I want to play ball with the system. I think that they look favorably if you do put ads, and I don't want to be like the party pooper that doesn't do the thing that I'm supposed to do. At the same time, I don't feel good about you guys saying that you get so many ads. I didn't know that it was something that it's like an ongoing nuisance all the time.
What you have to do is you have to subscribe to Brave, and Brave automatically takes out the ads. So there you go.
Oh yeah, there's ways of getting rid of it, but you know what? I'll look into it. I'll see. Maybe next time I'll test something where you can say do less ads. I'll try to do that.
Yeah, I do like what N said. Can the 50 caliber sniper rifle penetrate plot armor? No chance.
No, never.
Nothing's that powerful.
Yep. But that's our ending for the film. We get Spidey is sitting there injured and chatting with Frank, who is beside himself and crying.
Oh, for God's sakes! Seriously, that's not the Punisher. I don't know who that guy is.
No, I thought that this was one of my biggest complaints. Just walking out of the theater, immediately was like, They put Punisher in this, but he's not Punisher. Like, he's a different character in every film. In every TV show, he acts differently. Now, I know he's, borderline psychotic, but that he's in one film, he's, just slaughtering people wholesale on the street. And in the next film, he's sitting next to, Peter and waiting for him in his hospital room crying because he's upset because he shot Peter. He didn't shoot Peter. He was shooting someone who was a threat to thousands of people. Frank Castle, the Punisher, would not be upset that he did what he did. He would he'd be telling Spider-Man that he was a dumbass for stepping in and taking the bullet, but he wouldn't be upset and questioning himself for having shot at her.
All right, go back. So did Jean Grey do something to Peter Parker so he could still be alive? Is that what when they were talking about
that's yes. Frank says that she was using her voodoo magic to keep him alive.
But also, was Jean Grey responsible for making everybody forget the face of Peter Parker? Because when he woke up, he had no mask on his face. I don't understand how that works.
Oh, probably the Punisher in his room. He would put it on if anybody came in.
The Punisher's a wanted man. The Punisher's a wanted man. Immediately when he goes to the hospital, they would have called the police because he's a wanted man.
Not in the MCU, he isn't.
Yes, he is. Do you not see the last one? You not see the last one?
The last Daredevil? No.
No, the last film with him in it. Yeah. He's a wanted man.
Punisher.
Listen,
really man. That's what I'm saying. He's a different. He's a different
If
Punisher in every
if he
show, in every movie.
if he wanted, he wouldn't be hiding. He wouldn't be hiding. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's like in the
Yeah.
in the last one that they did, was that one, the short little film, he was in an ordinary room, wasn't he? So he
Mhm.
wasn't hiding. So I
Yeah.
reckon after he killed so many people in New York, the police are probably after him, aren't they? So
Well,
I
he
don't.
didn't kill as many people as Sadie Sink, so
Yeah, I don't know. I
and
really.
they're going to give her a medal or something.
Yep. Yeah, she escapes on a bus driving into upstate New York, I think. Maybe she's going to Xavier's home for the Team X members or something.
Is that what's going to be called? It's not going to be called X-Men.
Oh, there's no way in hell. I'd put money $20. There is no
Team
way in
X.
hell they are going to call them the X-Men in the MCU. They will be called Team X or something X-Force or something like that. They will not call them X-Men. Will not
See,
happen.
this is what's wrong with going forward with Marvel.
Yeah.
They're not respecting the material.
No, and we'll never get another thing where it's just, some dudes doing something. It's always going to be 70 women wrapped around the main character that outshine him in every way. And even though I didn't hate this movie does have that too.
Yeah. Yeah, get used to it. What was the team that had Snowflake and Safe Space? Was that the New Warriors or something? That's what they're going to call the X-Men.
Yeah,
the New Warriors.
So yeah, in the end, there is I'll say it. I thought it was funny. He lets Spider-Man walk out, and he puts on the Spider-Man mask and is waving to everybody. But that means not only is he able to leave and they don't think he's Spider-Man, but he gets to see all the people around who really do care and really do love Spider-Man. He exchanges a little glance with the.
I didn't hate that scene. I didn't.
I didn't either. I honestly I did like that scene. I thought of all of the more emotional bits in this,
that was pretty cool.
I thought that one really worked well because he gets to stand there around all of these people who really love Spider-Man and care for him and wish him well. They're holding signs, they're cheering for him. He gets to exchange a little glance with a kid who does the thwip thing with him, and that was really cute. I didn't mind that at all, and it does show a little bit.
Why? You know why? Because that one doesn't feel just like shoved in there to play with your heartstrings.
Yeah,
because they want to cause a little drama. That one is a good payoff. The fact that he's with his mask and he's now amongst the people, seeing how they feel about him, is a pretty good scene. That was not a bad scene in the movie.
Yeah,
hold on. That's leading up to that's leading. It's leading up to Miles Morales. You know, he said the kid was black, right?
He loitered a little for somebody trying to protect his secret identity. He did loiter a bit too long, and he could have just wrapped a bandage around his face and walked out too. So
listen. This is leading up to Miles Morales. This is what he's doing.
It may lead up, but this scene in isolation was a decent payoff to things that happened in the movie. I didn't feel like it was out of left field, and I thought it was pretty well done. It was one of the better scenes, I think.
It was all right. It just didn't make any sense that he was in the hospital in the first place, and how people didn't take his mask off, and all that nonsense, and how Wanted Man is able to sit into that room.
I agree with everything you just said, and some of it crossed my mind, especially Frank Castle being a wanted man. I didn't quite understand how all of that was working. I agree with you, but if you kind of just let it go and accept that you're watching whatever it is that they're showing, it wasn't
then you just be a normie. You just be a normie, and you don't see fully what's happening with this, with what's going on.
It's not just a matter of normie. I'll tell you this. I grew up I like Spider-Man, and generally speaking, it's the same way that I explained with the Transformers. There have been Transformers movies that I've seen that have been awful, but there was still a part of me that enjoyed watching them. There were enough robots beating each other up. So in this case with the Spider-Man movie, there were things in it that they were the kind of things that I like and I want to see. Obviously, the screenplay here and the storytelling is flimsy and has a lot of issues. But if I zoom out and just look at it as a popcorn movie, not to think about too much, that's why I consider it an okay movie. It's not flawless, but I found some things here that I did like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were plenty of scenes. 50% of this movie were just Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things, and they were quite enjoyable to watch. But I really want more out of my heroes. I want them to be smarter and more clever, and I want them to have more agency. And this whole thing felt
those
like
days are gone.
Spider-Man
Those
was on
days are
the
gone.
rails. Yeah.
This is probably as good as it gets. Whatever you saw here, that's like as good as they're going to give you.
I'm okay. I'm not living that much longer. So in the long run of things, I guess
don't say that.
I'm old, I'm not saying tomorrow, but in 25 years, I would unlikely be around. And if I was, I wouldn't be watching anything because I'll be blind by then for sure. So, yeah.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
That's true. Maybe I can, maybe I'll clone a new body or something. Who knows? But you're right. And that's actually a fact that depresses me and makes me less enthused about this movie. The fact that this is probably the best we're ever going to get from here on out. But AI will change that. Assholes like me will start making our own movies, and I'm going to stick it to the man.
I have an idea for a movie, but we'll have to see where that goes. It's a Christopher Nolan version of Les Miserables. Yeah.
Does it have the middle in it? You gonna do that?
Yeah, you'll have to do that.
Have you ever read a book called The Quantum Thief?
No.
It's an incredibly original sci-fi book. Check it out. It's a hard read, but man, it's really new and original. I'll give it that.
Is there anything else we wanted to kind of wrap up with? Because I see it's starting to get late.
Yeah, they just, after announcing 3 months ago that they were renewing Wonder Man for season 2, they are not renewing Wonder Man for season 2.
To be fair, I'm not even sure why they wanted to renew it to begin with. Maybe it got nominated for awards or something that they wanted to do it. Like, I think somebody got a nomination. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe the ceremony hasn't happened yet. For some reason, maybe it was worth it for them to say that they're going to do another season. I can't imagine why they'd really invest any more money in it. Nobody watched that first season.
Yeah, and you know what? It was hardly the worst Marvel TV show. It was more watchable than most, but I just didn't see it. I didn't see a lot of point to it either.
I couldn't get into it. Like, I watched it, and I agree with you. If you compare it to some of the other dumb Marvel shows, like those kind of Agatha All Along or whatever, it wasn't unwatchable. But if it was released maybe one of the first series as the MCU TV series, maybe I would have had more goodwill towards it. But after so many crappy shows, by the time it came around, I just had no patience.
Yeah, but if you're going to have the hero be a completely self-absorbed narcissist asshole, they better grow up in the first season, or I'm not going to stick around to the guy, even though the bad guys in that show were like the anti-mutant guys or whatever, the ones that wanted to put him away, they weren't wrong in their reasoning. The guy had no control. He was dangerous and he was blowing shit up. So they weren't exactly wrong in wanting to throw him in jail. And the hero didn't seem to care about anybody but himself. So it made me wonder, who exactly is this appealing to outside of, your garden variety narcissist?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I keep thinking about the fact that the bad guys were in an ice cream truck.
Yeah. Well, we are, did you see my little chat? Maybe it's about cream, and they just want to do "In the Sunshine of Your Love."
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well,
now I got an ice maker. I feel bad about that. I feel like my refrigerator is committing evil every 45
why don't
minutes.
Why don't they just give us entertainment? Why did I have to stick all this crap into it? I just hate it all. I'm really serious about my entertainment. I went into the cinema hoping this film was going to be good. It was okay. And I came out disappointed, I've got to admit. I still would recommend it, but it could have been 10 times better. And we know why it's not 10 times better, because it got infiltrated.
Yeah, make another movie, Ian.
I'm trying, mate.
Listen, if I had money, I swear to God, before all the hookers I would give it to you to make a movie. Believe me, on a hand to
nice
God,
to
I would trust you with money, but I'm just not in the position to do that at the moment.
Yeah, that's my problem. That's my problem. I don't have enough people with money to.
Yeah.
Oh, I
invest.
thought you were saying your problem is you spent all your money on hookers. So
That's
he did.
That's not the worst problem to have. I'm gonna.
It's such a shame that this could have been so much better, but it's what we're used to now with Disney Marvel, because that's what Disney Marvel does.
Well, and I'll say this, honestly, I went into this wanting it to be really good. There was stuff in it that I enjoyed. There was stuff in it I didn't. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time being nitpicky. Overall, this is not anywhere close to the worst thing they made of the MCU in a long time. There's some entertaining stuff in it. I don't think it's a masterpiece of a film. It's nowhere near the peak of what we've had with the MCU with like Winter Soldier. Right? Nowhere close to anything like that. Is it better than what we have been getting? In a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, I would definitely recommend this over, say, Thunderbolts. I would recommend this 1,000 times over before I would ever recommend you watch Captain America: Brave New World, because that movie is disastrously terrible.
Yeah, this movie is at least coherent in telling a story. But man, dude, Winter Soldier and First Avenger and the first Thor, they really hold up, man. And even I like the Incredible Hulk movie, man. I think it's very well made. So,
but it makes you wonder, right, after everything's said and done, after they've done Secret Wars, after they've done Doomsday, they're gonna. I think the whole point is to reset Marvel. The question is, what are we going to be left with when they reset Marvel? Because if after the reset Marvel, we're left with Africa, Captain America, and what's her name? Black Widow's sister, and all that nonsense. Then it's just going to be worse.
I think we know exactly what we're getting after they reset. We're getting the Team X. We're getting a mutant saga. It's going to be, and Sadie Sink is going to be front and center, right? There will not be a white Professor X who is in charge. Either he will not exist at all, or he's going to be a black man. Okay, guaranteed. They are going to try and do that. But the truth is, I'll also say, I will not be surprised one bit, and think this is likely to happen, that Doomsday and Secret Wars are massive bombs. Absolute just destruction in the in the budget department and in the theaters. They're huge failures. And
I think
they will have to sit back and they will have to pull back from their plans. They are going to have to put movies on the shelf and figure out what the hell they do next, because I will not, honestly, I'm saying, I think that between Doomsday and Secret Wars, Disney is going to be in the hole over $1 billion.
They are, but I think the cinemas are going to be packed when Doomsday happens.
Opening weekend only.
Yes. Yes, but I think it's going to have legs, but I don't think it's going to make its money back. And that might be just enough for Marvel to go, it's a success.
No. They're going to claim it's a success no matter what. I mean, DC claimed Supergirl was a success because they said it was #1 its opening weekend.
At least I'll say one thing. Disney has spent billions of dollars on nonsense over the years. So even if they do this, and let's say it almost breaks even, even if it breaks even or almost breaks even and there's no profit, at least they can show their investors that on paper they regain the confidence of the customers or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Sorry, John.
Until the subsequent bomb and they realize they didn't actually salvage anything. They just member buried their way into an illusion.
Right.
Doomsday is gonna be bad, and then when it comes time for people to show up for Secret Wars, half as many are gonna show up for that, and then they're doomed.
My
Yeah.
sister, who's a normie, when she saw the trailer for Doomsday, she got quite excited. She goes, "Oh, they doing that?" And I
Yeah,
said,
but
"Yeah,"
I
but
don't
you know
think
what I
the
mean?
movie's going to fool her, man, because it's going to be such an incoherent mess.
Well,
I don't know.
if this film Spider-Man fooled her, well, fooled her,
Oh,
she enjoyed it a bit, and then Doomsday is going to do the same with
oh
normies.
no, this movie's 10 times better than what Slop
We'll
Doomsday is
see.
going to end up
We'll
being.
see.
I
We'll
have no
see.
doubt about that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Anyway,
We'll
I
see.
think this movie is going to do really well. I think
it,
Doomsday
Yeah.
is going to be recognized pretty
Yeah.
quickly as an absolute disaster.
So, Ian, your favorite director is Spielberg, right?
and Hitchcock
Okay, where does
and a
John
couple of German ones.
Frankenheimer? Where does Frankenheimer sit in that?
Frankenheimer sits lower, but I still recognize his talent. And
Yeah,
he's really good at car chases. He's so good at
yeah.
car
So,
chases.
well,
Yeah,
he's much more than that. I mean, he's a master of noir and psychological
yeah, he is.
suspense. But
Yeah.
have you tried educating your family about good cinema?
No, look, no, because everybody has their own life. I mean, the things that
Okay.
me and you and everybody's focuses on are not the things that normies focus on. As I said, I sat through the first time I sat through Spider-Man. I knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't process it. I knew I
Right.
liked it. It was okay. I thought it was okay, but there was something about it that didn't work. Then I saw it the second time and I realized what didn't work. So, do you know what I mean? But for them, they just see the surface level and they go, "Yeah, it was okay," and they probably never wouldn't talk about it again because it doesn't bother them. They don't want to see it again. So there's a big difference between us, which are mega geeks, and the normies. You know, the way they see things. So I don't know. I don't know. That answer your question? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
I guess,
Yeah.
but you know,
Mm.
I've also had some friends where I was actually able to teach them some things. We went to some indie movies. I pointed out things on screen. They're like, "Oh, I never thought of that," and they
Are they the
actually,
same age as you?
well, yeah, they were okay.
Oh, I
Well,
I
yeah,
see
that
that the
explains it.
professor has written some names that he wanted me to
Oh, okay.
read off here from the Rumble side.
We do have one super chat real quick before you get to
Okay,
that.
can you
So,
show
Yeah.
it? I don't
yeah,
know where it
give
is.
me 2 seconds here. Whoa, my window went flying. Where'd it go?
How comes you're not R2 anymore?
Oh, we talked about it the other day.
Licensing, yeah.
I see.
Disney has gotten rather litigious apparently, and they've dinged a few people for using likenesses of characters and their IPs.
I see.
I don't want my friends' streams getting taken down because I'm using
Okay.
I want to get sued
So-
by Disney.
So I'm playing around with some other avatars. So let's see if I can find.
I'm sure they won't sue you because it might look a bit like what's that one in Fantastic Four?
Herbie.
I'm worried about
Herbie.
Nintendo suing because it looks like Robbie the robot. That's
Right. Okay.
let's see. Kamchi 2737, $2. More like recast races and not a real reboot. Yeah, I mean they're gonna do the whole mantle thing where they're like, oh look, this is this other guy is now Captain America. This other person is now Thor. Whatever. Yeah, they're totally gonna do that kind of thing.
I wonder how it's going to turn out for them.
Yeah,
Well,
I can guess.
Let me read the things
I
that
can
you
guess.
sent. So we have Jess 1791, the common nerd. Thank you, the common nerd. He's helped me in the past few days.
And gave us a raid before we started.
Oh, that's very, very nice of him. Thank you, common nerd. He's a good guy. You should check out his channel. Gaming stuff. Elizabeth Quinn's friend of the channel. Captain Tor. Late Night Ramblings. Cool Frog. Hey, thanks, Cool Frog. I like him as well. Jason Beep. Shora. TCAOG. One Punch Fan. Yitis. Cognitive Nomad. Taki Toaster 01. Caesarillo 1010. E. Clay Thomason. Born to be Down. Darren Mai, Istophobos, and Shadow, Volume Dealer 1, God Bless 5697, Georges I. Rex, Some Late Guy, Long Island 90, and thank you for the Rumble Rant. Also, One Punch Fan, I think, sent some Rumble Rants, so thank you for that. Folsom Lockdown, What was it? Dude Bro Seth 420 Cheers and Inform XONWE.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, we did. We got a Rumble rant from some late guy, Long Island 90, and one Punch fan. So yeah, let's see over on YouTube. Let's see our top 50 over on YouTube. Echo 32, Echo 7, Lucy Meow, Andrew Broadbent, William Kinski, Rogue's Backstory, Mr. Evil Dead Jameson, Shadow Piglet, Arturitus, Mark D with a C, Go Badgers 1995, right? Mark S47, Fishbulb, Justin Channels, Kalekioki, Marla Sharondoff, Ernie H Town, Zunar J5, Angry Sparrow, Tim Hayes, Rebecca Gold, JRR 2480, Ron Donafaro, Yitus, Emperor Goodwin, Badfoot, Darren M, Joe Darkness, Keely Chow, Hoot Owl, Electric Progression, Stephen Mack, The Dead Man, Ms. Sparkles, Matt Cat, Shannon K, Georgia Cyrex, Proctophile, Trevtune Art, Caleb Levine, Fat Joe.
Ista, did you share your links in the chat?
No, but I will. Thanks for reminding me.
Also for Ian, if you can put his.
Yeah.
Kamchi, Istphobos, Kodo Rob, Kira Runte, Big Sur River, Tomahawk 511, Strugun, and Dutch Gradient. And we did get a lot of fan funding over on YouTube tonight. We got memberships from Ms. Sparkles, Fishbulb, and then 10 gifted memberships from Fishbulb. So thank you for those. Some support from Istophobos, Dutch Gradient, Kamchi, and that was it. Yeah, those were Dutch Gradient, Kamchi. And so clearly Dutch Gradient enjoyed the film. You know what, Dutch? I'm glad you enjoyed the film. I hope you're still around. And don't take our criticism for saying that we thought this was something awful. I didn't think it was something awful. It had its ups, it had its downs. That's what criticism is. Sometimes you talk about the bad things, and sometimes you talk about the good things. So
so I'm about to put Ian's link, Rebecca Gold. He has a couple of free movies you can see on there. He's an excellent filmmaker. I think you'll enjoy them. And I just made a video about some of the problems going on in Hollywood, and I would appreciate it if people give it a watch and let me know what they think. Thank you.
Yes, it's good. I like it.
Well, that's high praise coming from the Mega Geek. So there, go to my channel, turn on the videos, let them run 24/7 on your computer when you're at work or whatever. And
also, just like to say to everyone in the chat, don't listen to us. Seriously, we're just reviewing stuff from our own bias, from who we are. So it doesn't matter. If I was you, I'd go and see it for yourself, go to the cinema, watch the film, and come to your own conclusion.
We're a bunch of grumpy old farts. Don't listen to us. Get off our lawns too.
Yeah, I'll say this though. My son wanted to go with me this time around. He wanted to go see the movie, and I asked him what he thought of it afterwards, expecting him to say it was amazing, it was great. And he was like, "It was okay."
Too long. Yeah, it was too long.
Listen, I don't even regret seeing the Odyssey. I think it's okay to wait for streaming for that. But this is a decent time in the cinema. If you're going to see anything this year besides Godzilla -0, go see this,
Yeah.
And that's why it's going to make money, that it's just kind of good enough. And that's what it's going to do. Even with all of its flaws, it does enough things that some people will like, and it's going to do well.
Yeah,
there's not really anything else as escapism-y right now.
No.
So
it's going to set big records this weekend in the
Tom Holland's very popular and with the Gen Z mob. So
and Zendaya too,
and Zendaya as well. Yeah,
it didn't change my life or anything, and I wish every movie I saw was like a revelation. They have the ability, the technology to do that. They just don't. But good enough is sometimes good enough, right?
Yep, this is the very definition of good enough, this movie.
Yeah.
In any case, it was great hanging out with you, and I want to also thank the chat for hanging out with us. And I guess now's a good time for us to be on our way. I want to thank It's the Phobos, friend of the channel, VIP, friend of the channel. Then we also have Ian the Mega Geek, also VIP, friend of the channel. Thanks for being here, both of you. We always enjoy hanging
No
out and
worries.
hearing your thoughts and all that. And it was a great conversation. Of course, we also have my co-host, Professor R2, and his awesome new avatar thingy. And and then I'm Price of Reason, and there's every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:45 p.m. There's the Night Owl, and today is Thursday, so we'll see you here on Tuesday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern on our channel, Price of Reason or Price of Reason Live, depending on what social network you're on. And I guess we'll see you here next time.
Ta-da.
Take care. Bye.
Timing.